What justifies that?
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great.
Yes. I don't think we should be vegan at all.
All right. So, what justifies harming others and abusing others?
What do you mean when you say others? Like human beings or animals?
Both humans are animals. So, I'm asking you what justifies harming others.
No, when you say others, I think you're talking about human beings. I don't consider animals as humans.
I never said that animals are human. I'm saying that they are sentient beings, they're individuals. So, what justifies harming them?
Because they're food.
But who said they're
We eat
food?
them.
But who said they're
Yes.
food?
What do you mean who said they're food? Human beings for millions of years.
Right. We said it ourselves. There's no necessity for consuming animal products or seeing them as food. There's no need to see an animal as food. You go to the store and buy plants, plant-based foods. And so that's
What?
the point. We don't have to slaughter others. So what justifies doing that?
I just told you. You said there's no need to see them as food. It's for consumption.
I know it's for consumption, but is it ethical consumption, right? I can eat you as a human being. Is that ethical?
I don't believe so. No.
Right. There's a problem with some consumption. The same with animals. There's no difference between slaughtering a cow and slaughtering a human in terms of the moral justification for those two things. What's the
I,
difference?
I think there's a huge difference between how we categorize morals between us humans and animals, right? I don't think kicking a chicken is the same thing as kicking a human being.
I didn't say that the two actions are the same. I'm saying there's no morally relevant difference between slaughtering
Yes, I'm
between jumping in
talking.
a person that makes it okay to slaughter a chicken, but not a person.
Yes, so you kind of equivalent the same moral weight from a human to an animal.
No, no, I agree. We value them differently, but that's not relevant. The point is, you are doing something to an animal. You're causing it to suffer. I'm asking you, what justifies the suffering? What's the
I just
difference between
I,
humans and
I,
non-humans?
exactly. So you asked me what is the difference. So you don't believe there's a difference, right?
What is the morally relevant difference between us and cows that makes it okay to slaughter them?
We're different species. I
That's
think
it.
we should.
The only all that is
I
just
mean,
the
yeah.
fact that we're
I
a
mean,
different species.
you're saying that there's the same that we have the same moral weights, and you're asking me for a difference. Clearly, we don't.
Look, if you're going to say the only thing that makes it okay to kill them is their species, well, how about dogs? Do you think it's okay to abuse dogs?
What do you mean by abuse? I didn't say anything about abuse.
Abuse is unnecessary cruelty, which
No,
is
yes, I didn't say anything about abuse. I don't think it's okay to abuse
right, but
pigs.
you are causing the abuse of animals by slaughtering them in factories. That's abuse.
I
You're
never
being cruel
slaughter.
to somebody when you don't have to be cruel.
No, I'm against abuse of animals. I'm just not against killing them to eat them.
I understand, but killing him to eat is abuse because there's no reason for doing that. It's unnecessary cruelty. I'm asking you what
Why?
justifies harming others? What
Okay,
justifies abusing
what?
others?
Why do we kill animals? In your opinion?
For taste. People do it
Okay,
because
so
they taste good.
but clearly it's not a necessary, right? Clearly there is a
Exactly.
necessity.
It's not a necessity to consume animals. So what justifies doing it when we know it causes them harm and suffering?
Wait, it's kind of like you just asked me what is the necessity why we kill
Look,
animals, right?
this is
I just
simple. Look, this is
no.
simple.
Okay,
Imagine if I took a dog and I
are you
started
talking? Okay,
stabbing it. Shh, shh. Look, this is simple. You guys are thinking too hard.
go ahead.
We all understand when we see a dog suffering, we cry, we don't like it. When somebody harms a dog, we say that's wrong. All I'm saying is that it applies to other animals too.
Yes, I agree with you.
Great.
I don't
So
think you
then,
should
so
just.
then you should be vegan because we agree we shouldn't abuse any animals. We agree. We shouldn't abuse animals. We shouldn't kill them and take their body parts just because we like the way it tastes. That's abuse. It's
No, that's not.
unnecessary cruelty.
That's not what I think abuse is. I think if you just take a dog or even a pig, for example, and just start stabbing it for no reason, I think it's wrong, obviously. But I do believe if a
That's what
pig.
you're paying
Hold
for,
on.
but that's what
No,
you're
no.
paying for. Do you
I didn't. I
understand
didn't.
that's what you pay for when
I
you
didn't. I
get.
didn't even. I didn't
Hold
even. We
on,
didn't.
hold on, hold on. This is important. It is equivalent to stabbing them because literally that's what you pay for when you get your meat, right? When you go to the store and you buy meat, you paid for a farmer to stab an innocent being and take their life away. That's the problem. You're causing that animal to be stuffed in a factory where they don't want to live.
Wait, I didn't finish.
So that's the problem. You are causing the abuse of them.
I didn't finish making my point. You just cut me off. Yeah, so what I was saying is I do believe if there's a for example, the example that you gave of the dog, right? That is completely different. You don't just go toward the dog and start stabbing them, right?
But
I
that's
believe
what
if
you're
you
doing to the pigs and
again,
cows. There's no difference. You're doing that to
ag-
pigs and cows.
again, you keep interrupting me. I didn't even
But
finish
you're
my
not
point.
listening. When I interrupt you, you should be listening to what I'm telling you. And you're doing the
Are you
same
okay?
thing. You're
Are you
stabbing,
listening?
just like you think it's wrong to stab a dog. You
Oh!
are causing the stabbing of cows and pigs, right? So,
Okay, I
what's
cannot
the
take you
difference
seriously.
between these two animals?
I cannot take you seriously because you're not even letting me make my points. Don't see how childish that is. I get that you're getting mad when I say stabbing, but let me at least finish my point so that you understand what I'm trying to say. Right? My point is, if it's unnecessarily cruelty, just as stabbing a pig or any other animal, that's wrong. But if it's done in a farm with the idea of feeding other human beings for consumption, then I don't think it's the same thing as just going to a random dog or a random pig and stabbing them.
But it's
Right?
not, it
Clearly,
is the same thing
hold
because
on,
it's
hold on.
not necessary. No, 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 it's not necessary to farm the animal. That's the point. It's
What do you
unnecessary. It's
what do you mean?
unnecessary.
What what do you mean necessary?
It's unnecessary to farm an animal.
Yeah, can you define necessary in this point? Because when you say because I clearly
When I say
clearly
necessary, it means you need it to survive. You don't need to eat animals to survive. You don't. That's why it's unnecessary to harm animals and have them farmed.
are you talking about a moral standpoint?
Can you please answer the question? What
No,
justifies doing it? What justifies harming and abusing
no. Okay,
animals?
are you wait? Are you is it a moral standpoint that you're using when you're saying necessary? Is it morally?
What justifies slaughtering and
I'm
abusing
ask,
innocent
I'm
animals?
asking you I'm asking you a question to
What
understand your
justifies
points.
doing that,
I
sir?
am asking you a question to understand your points because clearly there's a necessity, which is consumption. So if you're saying there's no necessity, are you saying morally?
You don't. Yes, you don't have to consume animals. It's
Okay,
not
so
necessary. So
okay,
why?
so you're saying
What justifies doing it?
you're saying morally, right? You don't have to.
Yes, we don't have to do it. So what
Okay,
justifies
what is
doing it when we
no
know it
no
causes them harm?
what is your moral based upon?
We're not talking about my morals. We're talking about your morals. What justifies slaughtering animals, sir?
There's nothing wrong with that in my morals because my morals are the way you think about harming animals, right? For me, I only put that consideration on other human beings. I don't
Why? I'm
think
asking you why. Why do you only care
because
about
that's
other humans? Hold on, hold on,
go
hold
ahead. I mean, you're
on.
the one interrupting me. Go ahead.
I'm trying to point out a hypocrisy on your behalf. You think it's wrong to harm humans and harm dogs and pigs, but you
Yeah.
do it. But you're the one paying
Okay.
for it. You're the one
Okay.
paying for it for something that's unnecessary. That is hypocrisy. You are hypocritical if you say it's wrong to
No,
harm
I'm not.
pigs, but
I'm
then you
not.
pay for it. You pay for
No,
it.
I am not. You're using human language for animals. From my
Oh my
perspective,
God.
yes, let me make my points.
Stop with
Calm
the
down.
getting hung
Let me
up on
make
the
my points.
language.
Let me
Stop
make
getting
my
hung
points.
up on the language, sir. Please.
The
Try to
land.
understand. Try to listen to me this time. There's a moral dilemma here. You are harming an animal without good reason. We know it causes them suffering and pain, and you're saying, oh, we have to consume it, but you don't have to consume it. That's the problem. It's unnecessary harm, which is
Okay.
abuse. So,
So
what justifies that?
I'm trying to make a sample for you because you're using morals, right? But from my moral perspective, there's nothing wrong. I don't give the same standards that I give to human beings to animals. I do not
I
think.
never said they have to have the same
No,
standards. I'm
okay, no.
simply
Let me.
asking you what
Let,
justifies slaughtering them? What justifies doing that to them, taking their life away, and abusing them in
because they are
factories? What
food.
justifies that, sir?
Because they are food. We consume them.
But who said they're food? You did.
We
There's
did.
nothing.
What do you? It's not me.
Wait, if
The
I called
human.
you food, hold on. If I called you food, would that make it okay for me to slaughter you because I just say you're food?
Wait, on, hold on. I didn't call them food. We human has done it for millions of
Okay, I'm
years.
sorry. I'm sorry. If we humans said that
Yes.
Mary Potter is food, would that make it okay to slaughter you?
No, it wouldn't make that okay.
Exactly. That's my point. Just because we say it's food doesn't make it the case that we should consume these animals and abuse them. That's the point here. Do you understand now?
Yes, yes, I understand.
Okay.
So is it wrong because you said so?
It's wrong because you said so. You already agree that it's wrong to abuse a dog or a pig or a cow.
Yes.
You already
I
agree
don't.
with me. You
I don't.
already
I don't.
agree with me. You
No, no,
just
I
don't
didn't agree.
see the
I did
hypocrisy
not.
yet. You just
I
don't
did
see
not.
the
No,
hypocrisy yet.
I did not agree with you. You're making my point for me. I did not agree with you. I
Okay, so
said,
then you do think it's okay to abuse cows.
what do you mean by abuse? I don't think killing an animal to eat it is abuse. You're
Ab-
using language that I don't believe in. I
Abuse
don't
is
think
unnecessary harm.
is it. Why do we kill chicken? What is the necessity to kill
I
chicken?
can't do this anymore. I just can't do it. I can't take it. I cannot take it.
Hey Mike, how you doing?
Hi.
43 she her. God is definitely an imaginary, and definitely trans women are women, but you should be vegan. No. Or
Okay. Then
omnivores.
what justifies slaughtering and abusing innocent beings?
What justifies slaughtering and cutting the fruits and
You're not
vegetables?
answering my. You're going to answer my question, okay? What
Okay.
justifies slaughtering innocent beings?
What justified? Food?
Okay. So why are cows food but dogs are not food?
But Mike, I just answered your question. I have a question for you.
No, we're not going to do this game. You're going to listen to me, and we're going to debate about the topic. What
Yeah, but
justify
Mike,
why are cows considered food but dogs are not food? What's the difference?
well, dogs are actually considered food in China and stuff like that,
Okay, do
but
you consider dogs food?
no, because
Okay,
I'm not
why
part
do
of
you
the
not
small
consider
culture.
dogs food but you do consider cows food? What's the
Because
difference?
because that's dogs is not part of my culture. I'm not from
Okay.
Haiti, so it's
Okay,
not
so you're
part of my
saying, well,
culture.
it's my culture that dogs are friends and cows are food. But what if
Yeah,
your culture said that humans were food? Would you align with your culture?
no, I don't. I don't. That's not my
Exactly.
culture.
So culture doesn't justify that because you already said if the culture said something doesn't necessarily make it true or good. So let's go back. That doesn't work anymore. You can't use
Okay,
culture as an excuse. So again, what justifies slaughtering cows but not dogs? What's the difference?
because Homo sapiens are omnivores, but The whole dog argument
That doesn't necessitate us consuming animals. We can be omnivores, herbivores, poopivores, or momivores. It doesn't matter. We don't have we don't need to consume animals to survive, even though we're
Why do you
omnivore.
have canine teeth?
Okay, so do gorillas who are herbivores. Your canine teeth do not necessitate you slaughtering somebody. You don't have to, just because, first of all, our canines did not evolve for meat. Okay, they evolved for multiple reasons other than consuming animal products. Thirdly, we don't, just because we have canines doesn't mean we must slaughter others. We can still be vegan with our canines fully intact.
I'm not fine. So, but you said the justification of slaughtering cows, and what about your justification of slaughtering like vegetables and fruits?
They're not They're not
Are
sentient. They're not sentient.
vegetables not
Foods
living?
are not sentient. They're not.
How do you
They're
know
not
that they're not
sentient
sentient?
beings. They don't have
How
a
do you know
nervous.
they're not sentient?
They don't have a nervous system.
Yeah, but you do recognize that they've done many studies with plants. Like if you're in a bad environment, the plant does bad, but if you're in a good environment, it does better.
Yeah, when you give plants food and water, they survive better. Yeah,
And
that doesn't
what
mean they're
about your
that doesn't
B12?
mean they're sentient though.
Yeah, but I also don't need to take supplements like calcium and B12 because I
Oh,
get that.
did you know that you actually do take supplements? Did you know that most of your B12 that you get actually comes from fortifying cows? We inject cows with B12 injections. Did you know that?
No, I don't buy food from factory farms.
Where do you buy your food then?
Locally raised.
Oh, locally raised. So all of a
Yeah.
sudden you never go to the store to buy meat at all. You only buy meat in
No,
local
I'm not
farms.
for meat. No, not for meat. And
Okay.
most of my vegetables,
Well,
no.
even still, a lot of those local farms
I'm fortunate enough to be able
still
to buy that
fortify
kind
their
of
cows.
stuff.
A lot of those local farms still do that. They inject cows with hormones and all kinds
No,
of
not
things
the cows
still.
not the cows in the farms that I deal with.
Okay. Well,
And
still,
the
you're
cow
still
farms
harm.
that
Oh
I
my
deal with
gosh! Oh
are
my
20
gosh!
miles
Oh my
down the
gosh!
road.
Oh my gosh! Hold on.
Yeah. I'm just saying the
I
cows
think
that I
it's
deal
still
with are
wrong
20
to.
miles down the road.
I think it's still wrong to slaughter a cow, even though it's locally slaughtered.
I
For
think it's wrong to
just hold on,
slaughter letters.
hold on. I think it's wrong to slaughter somebody just because you don't want to take a fucking supplement. I think that's ridiculous. Would you, for example, let's say that the only way you can get let's say to get your B12, you can consume a person or take a supplement. Which would you pick?
I'm not taking supplements and I'm not consuming humans, so I'd probably
Man, can you
unalive
please answer the
myself.
question?
I would probably
If
unalive
what
myself.
would you rather consume a person to get B12 or take a fucking supplement?
Neither.
So you would rather
So I would
starve to
unalive,
death.
yeah.
You would rather starve to death than
But-
take a supplement
But Mike, in good faith here,
No,
though,
please answer
I
my
do have a
question.
pub-
Please answer my question.
I
You would
do
rather
have a
starve to
PubMed
death than
article.
take a supplement? Is that correct?
Wait. I do have a PubMed article for you comparing plant-based diets and high risk of stroke.
Can you please address my point here? You would rather starve to death than take a supplement, correct?
I don't take supplements. No, I don't need that because I get
Okay,
all
let me
my
try this
nutrition-
again. Let me try this again.
I get all
You
my
have two
nutrition from
choices. You're
meat,
forced to
fish,
two
eggs.
choices. Ma'am,
vegetables,
please hold on. You're forced two choices. Either consume a person for B12 or take a supplement. Which
I'm
one
not
would you
gonna do
pick?
either. I'm not going to do either.
So you would rather starve to death than take a fucking supplement.
Yeah. Because I don't, Mike, I don't take supplements. That's part of my thing. And I don't eat humans.
Okay,
So what
this is
would happen?
absurd. This is absurd.
How is it
It's
absurd?
a supplement. It's a fucking supplement. B12
Yeah,
does not come
I
from
shouldn't
meat.
have to
It doesn't
justify
come
it.
from meat.
But if you want to talk about supplements, I have a PubMed article for you on how you are actually at higher risk of having a stroke than I am, who's an omnivore. You want the PMIC number? You want the
So
PMID
now we're
number?
pivoting to the nutritional aspects to veganism, which is not relevant to the moral aspect of it. But I have also read those stroke papers, and if you're getting a well planned diet with the proper nutrition, you're at a way lower
Yeah,
risk of
well-planned
stroke.
diet, consuming meat, vegetables, fruits, all these
Yeah,
other grains, everything, well balanced. Mediterranean diet is probably like the best diet that you can have.
there's no such thing as the best diet ever, but how about all the studies showing that meat consumption raises risk of heart disease and cancer and diabetes
Okay,
versus vegan diets, which are way
tell
lower
me the
in those
article.
diseases?
Tell me the article.
The Adventist Health 2 study, the Epic Oxford study.
And I'm trying to show you a study that a plant-based diet that you're promoting can lead to a higher risk of stroke.
How? What was the methodology in which they demonstrated eating a healthy plant-based diet leads to higher rates of stroke versus somebody consuming meat?
I can give you the PMID number. You can
No,
go
just
over.
tell me how they did it. Just tell me how the study demonstrated this. What were they eating? Do we know what they were eating? Were they eating vegan Oreo cookies?
No, there was a person who was vegan, vegetarian, and meat eaters.
What were they consuming though? Look, you could be a vegan and be unhealthy. You can be a vegan and eat Oreo cookies all day long, and yes, you're going to have higher
What
incidences
are
of
the
stroke in those
burritos that are
people.
vegan?
I'm asking you, on a
Spicy
well-planned
nachos.
diet, when you're getting healthy foods, the stroke risk is not nil. It's zero
PubMed would actually disagree.
versus somebody consuming meat.
That vegans actually have a higher risk of stroke than meat eaters.
Why? But which vegans do? The ones who eat healthy or the ones who eat unhealthily?
Vegans. So now we're gonna judge people who.
This
are
is
vegan
important. What were they eating? What were those vegans eating that led them to higher rates of
I don't
stroke?
know. I mean, if
You
you're
don't know.
starting
You
these
don't
chemical
know. You
shitstorms,
don't
I
know.
mean,
You don't know the answer, and that's the problem. You just want to cite a study to make, oh, see, vegans have stroke. It's a buzzword, but in reality, when we investigate the research, it doesn't actually show that.
it's from the National Library of Medicine.
I understand, but that doesn't mean just because it's a peer-reviewed source doesn't mean it's necessarily flawless methodologically.
But I'm trying to show you peer-reviewed studies that show that
I
you have a
understand
higher
that, but
risk
just
of
because you
stroke
have a peer-reviewed
than I
source does
do.
not mean it's perfect. There are flaws that happen many times in
Yeah,
many different
I know
types of
many
studies,
vegans that
especially
eat
in
those.
nutrition.
I know many vegans who eat those vegan chicken nuggets, which are chemical shitstorms. We all know that. That would be unhealthy. The vegan
Not
chicken nuggets.
necessarily. No, that's not
Yes,
necessarily
they are.
true
They're
either.
chemical
No,
shitstorms.
no, it's not necessarily
They're
true that
highly
consuming.
processed food.
That doesn't mean it's unhealthy versus consuming meat. That's just not. Again, you keep making
processed food
assumptions. You keep
unhealthy?
making assumptions after assumptions
No,
because
wait,
you
wait,
don't
wait.
actually. You're not actually good faith here. You just
Mike,
want to say
Mike.
vegan bad, vegan bad.
Mike, is processed food healthy?
It depends on which processed food you're talking about. Popcorn.
Come on.
Popcorn is processed. It actually is healthy compared to eating meat. So yes,
You're
not
trying to tell me
sometimes
that
processed food is
food
healthy.
can be healthy.
Sometimes processed food is healthy.
Mike,
Yes.
dude,
Yes.
you are fucking lost with that statement. Sorry.
Okay.
To say that processed food is good is not good at all.
That's not my fucking statement. I didn't say processed food is necessarily good. I said
Is
some
Velveeta good?
processed food can be healthy for you.
Like what? Make an example of a processed food.
Popcorn.
Besides popcorn, name another one.
Besides
Because you
popcorn.
can't.
Bread.
Because you can't name another one besides popcorn.
Breadsticks. Bread.
Bread? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
bread.
Yeah, but it's not. Well, it depends on if you're getting the bread from a bakery or from like Fry Hopper.
Exactly. It depends on which processed food you're consuming.
Yeah, but
You agree with
but
me?
we understand that, like,
let's get
processed
back
food
on
is
track
not
here.
exactly
Let's
the
get back
great
on track here. What justifies slaughtering animals? Is it the sheer fact that you don't want to take a fucking supplement?
Because
Is that what justifies stuffing animals in gas chambers?
they don't go into gas chambers.
They surely do, ma'am. That's the
cows
standard
that I
practice.
eat
That's the
get a
standard
bolt to
practice
the
in
head.
CO2 gas chambers.
Yeah, so the cows that I eat have a bolt. They have a bolt gun.
Oh yeah, much better. Just a bolt to the head. Meanwhile,
Which
15% of the time,
renders them
15% of the time, they are conscious while they are being bolted.
And then you say that plants don't have sentience.
We know for a fact plants don't and cannot have sentience. They don't have nervous systems.
Nervous systems do not necessarily mean sentience. If they're
So
able to,
can you
if
tell me
they're
how you
able
have
to
sentience
do,
without a
no,
nervous
listen.
system? I'd love to hear
If
this.
plants are able to photosynthesize from sunlight to be able to grow, they obviously have some form of sentience. Meaning
No.
that
What do you
they're
think
living,
sentience? What do you think
meaning
sentience
that they're
means? What
living
does sentience?
organisms.
What does sentience mean?
Like I said, you can
What
talk
does
to me to
sentience
your
mean,
plant
man?
and
What
it's
does
gonna
sentience
fucking
mean?
die.
What does sentience mean?
Well, I'm not going down the abortion sentience because
Can you just answer the fucking question?
you tell me what sentience is then.
So you don't know what it is. Is that a concession? You
No,
don't know
I
what it
do.
is.
I know what
Then
sentience is.
just tell me for the sake of of this conversation.
It's when you're able to feel pain and stuff like that.
Great. So do you think photosynthesis means you can feel pain? No,
No,
of course
they
not.
feel growth.
Plants can perform biochemical processes. They can react to stimuli, surely. Nobody questions that. But reacting to stimuli does not equate to sentience, the capacity to feel, because feeling requires higher processing in the nervous system and the brain. You need some kind of neural network to feel things. That's just how your body processes pain. You need
So where do you
nociceptors.
morals
These are
come
pain
from,
receptors. Plants have none of that. Plants don't have pain receptors, neurons, neural networks. They have none of that. They can't possibly feel anything.
Yeah, because we can't study if they do feel stuff.
We have studied it, and there are studies that show they don't. One of them called Debunking the Myth of Plant Consciousness. It actually is a study that goes step by step demonstrating how plants aren't conscious or
Do you believe in climate change?
Yeah, do you?
Yeah.
Great. That's actually one of the best reasons to be vegan.
No.
Vegans have a 75% lower carbon footprint versus their counterpart meat eaters.
No, because
Do you
they're
care about
burning
saving
down
water?
the rainforest for soy
Vegans
farms.
save about 50% of the water consumption simply by being vegan. Oh, do you care about deforestation? Well, you should. If you care about climate change, did you know that vegans actually save about 50% more trees?
No, not when they're burning down the rainforest to plant more soy farms.
And who gets that soy? Cows that you slaughter, not humans. 90% of soy is grown for cows and farm animals, not humans.
No, it's not.
Oh, you really want to try me on this?
Just show me a study on that.
Sure, no problem. So if I can show you that what I said is true, will you agree will you agree with me that you should be vegan? Hello, ma'am?
No, I'm listening.
If I showed you this study, will you become vegan?
No.
Okay, so then you don't care about climate change. You don't care about it then. It seems you just say you don't care about
climate change. But like what I'm saying is like they're cutting down the fucking rainforest for your food. And to be able to
here's a source here. So here's the source here. It's FCRN, the Food Climate Research Network, and it demonstrates
what's the modality?
They just count up how much soy is fed to the animal.
No, tell me the modality.
It's that simple.
You wouldn't agree my study because you didn't answer the modality.
You don't need a study to count numbers.
Oh, okay.
You don't need a study for that.
Okay.
This is from the Food Climate Research Network, and this is a paper
Yeah, a vegan
that reviewed.
propaganda site.
Hold on. This is a
vegan
paper that
propaganda site.
reviewed farm activity in farms globally, and they found that 80 to 90% of all the soy is actually fed to cattle.
What's the modality?
Modality? What are you talking about?
they-
Modality?
How many people
They
did they
counted out. They
What
looked at the
cultures did
farms.
they-
They
did
went.
they-
They went across. They looked at all the farms across the world. They extracted data, and they found, oh wow, 80% of the soy is actually fed to the crop, fed to the animals. Not
Okay, do Asian people eat more soy than Americans do?
why is this relevant? I don't know. Why is this relevant though?
No, because that would be relevant.
How is it relevant? How much soy? It wouldn't. It would be negligible how much difference there would be between people in different cultures.
Really?
It's irrelevant. I'm asking you what justifies slaughtering animals, ma'am. You haven't done it yet. So far, all you said was supplements. I don't want to take a supplement.
I'm showing here. I'm seeing a study right now that Americans eat about 3 grams of soy daily, where Asian people eat about 10 grams of soy daily.
Wow, they eat 7 more grams. Congratulations. What's your point?
And they have a hell of a lot more people than we do.
Okay, what's your point? How is this relevant to the topic?
So if there's 1 billion people in China and 350 million people in America, and China's eating up more soy than Americans do at a higher rate, humans eat soy. A lot of humans eat soy.
Not compared to the farm animals, which eat 80% of it. 80% of it is fed to the farm
Mike,
animals that you slaughter.
I have a hypothetical for you. How about this? I got a really good one for you. If we all became vegan tomorrow, what would happen to all the animals?
They would be happier. They wouldn't be slaughtered anymore. They'd be in these factories, and we would turn those factories into sanctuaries. We would feed the animals until slowly their populations dwindle, and there's no more animal agriculture. The world would be healthier. We'd have more forests. We'd have more water. We'd have more food. There'd be less suffering in the world. There'd be less violence in the world.
No,
it would be a far better planet. It would be a far better world.
The animals would eat all our fucking vegetables and everything else. So we wouldn't have any food. Because
what? What? Okay, let me explain this to you.
If we released all the cows,
let me explain this to you.
Goats, everything, they would eat up all.
Let me explain this to you, Nick. Let me explain this to you. Okay, so every single year, humanity breeds into existence 90 billion farm animals, and then we slaughter them every year. And so we have to grow all these crops every year to supply the food for those animals, okay? If we stopped tomorrow killing animals, the numbers of animals would stand still and then slowly decrease. And so we would never have to use more food. We would not have to use, hold on. We would never have to use more food than what we use today. It would only be the same or less.
No, Mike, wait.
So your point is moot.
The animals would not decrease.
I'm sorry?
The animals would not decrease.
Yes, they would, because we sustain, we breed them into existence far faster than they can multiply themselves naturally.
Why do we have hunting permits for deer?
Because people like to hunt. That's just it's an activity that people like to do. It's wrong. I agree. I think that's totally wrong.
It's to control the population of deer.
How's that working out for you when the population's still exploding? Deer populations are not, it's a band-aid to hunt deer. It doesn't actually solve anything. And by the way, most of the deer we're killing are the males, which is the worst thing to do for overpopulation. That's not solving overpopulation.
No,
Hunting doesn't do anything. Hunting doesn't do any significant work to solve overpopulation. That's why there's still overpopulation of deer on this planet.
Mike, Here in upstate New York, you get 3 deer tags. 1 male
I
and 2
don't care.
females.
That's irrelevant. My point is still remains that hunting does not solve overpopulation. If it did, we would not
Yes, it
have an
does.
overpopulation of deer anymore.
Yes, we would. Well, probably
How?
actually
How?
probably
How will
not
we
because
solve? How will we have an overpopulation? How will we not have an overpopulation?
oh, because more deer would probably hit cars. Then our cars would hit deer at a staggering pace.
Okay, I can't do this. I can't do this anymore. The mental gymnastics people go through just to justify their taste pleasure is just insane to me. Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great.
Wonderful. So God is a missionary, huh? In your book?
Yeah.
Okay. And we should all be vegans. And
Yeah.
trans men should be women and women should be men. Is that correct?
No, I didn't say man should be woman. Trans women are women.
No, they're not. And there is a God. And hell no, I'm not going to be vegan. I want a steak. I want a steak on my plate.
So which one do you want to tackle first?
You're not going to solve the world's problems by being vegan or trying to save the earth.
Actually, we actually have already
No, you're
done
not.
it, though. We
You're
have
not.
actually done quite a bit.
The
So-
world's going to be
So
destroyed.
do you want to listen, or you just want to talk?
You asked me,
Okay.
and I'm telling you.
So veganism is one of the best things any person can do individually to help the planet, because vegans have a 75% lower carbon footprint than their counterpart meat eaters. We save about 35% more water. We save also about 50 to 60% more trees than their counterpart meat eaters. So being vegan is one of the best things you could do for the environment. If you care about pandemics, if you don't want pandemics, right? You're probably anti-vaccine. Well, go vegan, because vegans reduce the amount of pandemics that occur. Many of them are zoonotic diseases which breed in these factories full of animals. So veganism has tons of spillover effects that affect the entire planet, including your own society. And so one of the best things you can do to help the world is to be vegan.
I don't want to save the world.
I'm not saying you can save the world. I'm just simply saying that you can help the world be a better place. Do you want that to happen, or do you want the world to be a worse place?
It's going to be a worse place.
That's not what I asked you. Do you want the world to be worse or better?
Because then
Do you want the world to be worse
I
or
won't
better,
be
ma'am?
here, and these cross-dressers won't be here either.
Okay, do you want the world to be better or worse?
Worse. Hey, you believe what you believe. I want a steak.
Oh,
And I
you
want
want a steak. Okay, so what if that steak came from a human body? Would that be okay to can still eat it?
No, I'm not a cannibalism. I don't go into that. That's Hollywood.
Okay, so why is it wrong to slaughter humans for steaks, but okay to slaughter cow? Hold on. Why is it okay to slaughter cows for steaks, but wrong to slaughter humans for steaks? What's the difference?
Well, because yes, it's being a Democrat, which I think you are. You slaughter millions of babies every year, millions, but it's okay to save the cows.
Well, fetuses are not, first of all,
Well,
babies.
so you're not a human either, and you don't
Fetuses
care about the water either.
Most abortions
You don't care about
occur.
nothing but
Wait, look,
yourself.
hold on.
You don't care about yourself. Yourself.
Hold
You
on.
don't
Most
care about
abortions,
human life.
the vast majority of
Care about
abortions
human life.
the vast majority of abortions occur before there's even a clump of cells there. Okay,
Well,
they're not
that's your
babies.
opinion.
They're not
That's
babies.
your opinion because you don't
Okay,
believe
so
there's a God.
can we please stop and listen for a second, right?
Okay, I'll listen to you, but then
The
you're going
vast-
to have to listen to me.
The vast majority of abortions occur before there's even a clump of cells there. They're not sentient, they're not individuals, they're just clumps of cells. Secondly, there's a bodily autonomy issue, right? When you force women to give birth to beings they don't want to give birth to, that's a problem. So I know I'm going to say, no, you have a right to to get an abortion because it's my body, it's my choice. Now, to answer your other question, there's no reason for your steak to be justified because you said it's wrong to kill a person for steak, but why is it okay to slaughter a cow for steak? What's the difference?
Okay, I'll answer you now. So, if you think that it's wrong for me to think that there's no cells, they're cells and they're not human, then women have no penis, so why do they think they're men? That's
Because
trans because
no, you
your
don't
mind is
understand what
messed
trans
up.
is.
Because your mind is messed up. You got mental health. That's why. And I need a
No,
steak and I need some water and I need for you to stop telling me what to do and what to eat.
I'm
I
not.
don't
I'm
tell you
not
what to
telling
eat.
this.
You can eat all the grass you
Man,
want,
you came up
all
here.
the
You came
seaweed
up
you
here.
want. All
You
I'm
came up
sorry, but
here.
that's the
You came up
facts.
here. Okay.
Bye
No,
bye.
the fact
I mean,
is that
come on, be real.
shh, I know you're anxious. I know you're angry. But just listen. Trans women are women because that's their identity. We all have gender identities. You and me. You inside. You in your brain unconsciously have the sense that you want to be called a man, not a he. You express yourself more feminine, right? Womanhood is an archetype. Doesn't have to do with your penis or your vagina. That's not what defines woman. It's not just your penis or vagina. There's more to womanhood and manhood than just those sex parts. And that's why trans women are women, because womanhood means something different than sex. Sex and gender are two distinct things. And so it's not a man who wants to be a woman. It's a woman. Trans women always were women because that was always their identity. All right. Now you can explain why I'm incorrect. Click the microphone button. We can't hear you otherwise.
You can't tell me that if they dig your body out from under the ground 2,000 years from now, they're going to say you're a man or a woman. They're not going to be confused. Facts
You
is
keep
facts.
referring to sex, not gender. Gender is not
Sex
something.
is a perversion in the mind. It is not real. It is perversion.
Sex isn't real.
Women that want to be with men, men that want to be with women that are trans, they love men. It's in the mind, honey. Your mind is messed up. You were born a man, you're gonna die a man. When they dig you up, you're a man. When
You're
you kill
talking
a
about
child, when
sex.
you kill a child,
Karen,
it's a child of God. And
Karen, you're talking about
when
sex,
you
Karen.
kill a cow, you're gonna eat it. Come on. I love meat.
Karen, you're talking about sex, not gender. Sex, I agree with you.
Sex. Women have
Sex,
sex, men have sex, but women and man with man is wrong.
okay. So when you say, what if we did up your body parts or bones 2,000 years ago, what would they tell you? Well, they would be talking about your sex. They would be, first of all, we can't really know your gender. It's actually sometimes hard to infer what the sex is of a being by looking at their bones. Sometimes it's ambiguous. But sometimes we look at the pelvic bone, pelvic area, things like that. But that's sex, right? That has to do with your sex. That doesn't have to do with your gender.
No, listen.
Gender is something different
I
from
had
that.
plenty of sex when I was young. I have no more sex,
We're
so
not
that doesn't
talking about
define who I
intercourse.
am.
We're not talking about
I am a
intercourse.
woman.
We're not talking about the action of
It
intercourse,
doesn't
man. We're
define me
not.
by my sexual action.
We're not talking about
You're
intercourse.
perverted, son. Come on, get some help. I pray for you. Get some help, sweetheart. You're a handsome man, by the way. Do you have a mother? Or was that she doesn't know if she was a mother. She was a mother. She had you. I mean, what's so complicated about that, honey? You know?
Okay.
This generation is so messed up. They're trying to save the world, but they're killing the
No,
babies.
what's
They're trying
happening
to
is
save the
that
cows
what's
because the
happening
cows
is
are
that the
precious.
world is growing in complexity all around you,
Oh,
and
the
you
world is
don't
falling apart.
understand it. You just
It's
don't want to
supposed to be.
comprehend it, ma'am.
No, the world is going to fall apart, and you just don't know it.
No, the world is fine. It's just that
No, it's
you
not.
grew up in a time where you didn't know half of the shit we're talking about.
Oh, yes, I do.
You were
I know
never
more than you
taught.
do. That's
You were
for
never
fact.
taught any of this stuff. You were never taught about
Oh,
veganism.
that is
You were
just
never
bull
taught
crap.
about
That's just
religion.
bull crap. These are scientists and professors that have agenda to mess your mind up. That's all it is. It's all about the woke and the gender and the,
What does woke mean? What does woke mean?
confusion and, you're
What does woke
confused.
mean?
Vogue means that you're supposed to be perfect in what you do, and
No,
you
what
are
does
perfect.
woke? You said woke. What does woke mean?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, what they say on TV is that woke. I think Pamela Harris said it, or Kamala Harris said that woke was to make you better at what you are. What you are. If you're gay, you're better. If you're Democrat, be better at it. That's what she said.
This is on Fox News.
No, this was with Kamala Harris. I call her the Camilla.
The
Yeah,
Camibla? I call her Camibla too. Camibla.
yeah.
She
So
destroyed our
I just
country.
know that
Don't
you're
get me started with Obama.
you're trying
He
to save
divided
the
our
world,
country
and you're
struggling.
not able to do it
The
because you're
best
not
day of my life was
religious.
I voted for Donald J. Trump. He made our country stronger, better, bring down the deficit, bring
Yeah,
down
you're from
the inflations.
Kentucky. Are you from Kentucky?
Nope, I'm
I'm
from
from Texas,
Alabama,
and I
man.
carry guns. We don't put up with bull
Protect the
crap.
Second Amendment.
And I can tell you are
More
from
guns.
California. You're from California.
All these violent activities happening around the country in schools,
Oh
and
yeah,
you're going to
yeah.
vote for more guns, right? More guns.
Absolutely. Shoot all the
Absolutely.
people that
Everybody
want to
get.
save the
You get a
cows.
gun. You get a
I
gun.
want a cow for dinner.
Everybody get a
I want
gun.
a steak. Yes.
All right.
Shoot them. Yeah.
Oh man. What we've just witnessed was the result of somebody who did not get properly educated throughout their life. It's that simple, guys. That person, a lot of people are like that. They're just not properly educated. It's funny. It's actually sad. But yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
How's it going?
great.
I mean, do you need my age? I'm 24, from the Midwest, voted for Trump. Just some things about
Okay.
me. Do I just pick a topic? Is that how this works?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's pick the third one, kind of go off of what you were talking about prior to this. You said that, the world is kind of evolving into more complex thought processes. I don't think that necessarily means that everything we look at is necessarily a complex thought process, such as like what a woman is, right? Can I just ask a clarifying question? Do you believe that definitions are subjective or objective?
They're subjective.
Subject. Okay, cool. Definitions are subjective. What would you say makes a coherent definition?
One that accurately depicts reality.
And how do we know whether something accurately depicts reality?
Depends on what you're talking about. If you're talking about analytical claims, it's just.
I mean, you were the one that
definition.
referenced. Yeah, you were the one that referenced it.
See, this is where it gets complicated, sir. See how you don't like complexity, but it's actually incredibly important to understand when we deal with linguistics.
Well, you
Depends on
structured
what
like
you
5
mean.
words together
Depends
to
on what you
describe
mean.
what makes a coherent argument.
You asked a good question. How do we know what's true? It depends on what you mean by the thing you're trying to demonstrate. Is it a definition? Well, that's an analytical claim, right? That's going to depend on certain definitional claims and statements. If you're talking about empirics, like how do we know the Earth is around? Well, that's going to depend on empirics. That's going to depend on scientific evidence and things like that. So what is your
So
point here? Why are trans
so
women not women?
yeah, I would say that definitions have to meet qualifiers, and I think that if it is the case that definitions are just inherently subjective, even though you just made the claim that they were subjective, although pointed to objective qualifiers that would make something a definition like coherent,
Can
right?
you just explain to us why trans women are not women?
I'm currently doing that. So, as I was saying, I would say that there's necessary qualifiers that meet the definition of woman. I would say one of those would be that they belong to the sex of female. I would say that this is a necessary qualifier, and anything after that, like
But why?
things
Why
about
must we
women,
follow your definition, though?
I'm not saying that you have to. If definitions are
Oh,
subjective,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, so then my definition's fine.
Definitions,
So then trans women can be women, right?
not objectively, no.
Oh, wait. So you think definitions are objective?
That's not what I said. How did you
I'm
get
simply
there?
asking you, why do you think trans women are not women, though? I'm
You
trying
didn't
to
ask anything. You
like,
made a claim. You just claimed that I think definitions are objective.
look. Do you think? Do you think
So if
all
you
the?
have
Do
a
you think
question,
all
I
the
mean,
women?
ask the
Look,
question.
do you think all the woman
Well,
is
don't
just
don't
her
stumble
sex?
now. Don't trip over your words. Come on, you got this.
Like,
I believe in you.
do you think all the woman is just their sex organs?
No, but I think that it is a necessary qualifier to meet the definition of woman.
Okay, so the necessary condition to be woman is being female. Now, what's a
Correct.
female? What's a female mean?
The coming from the sex that has the ability to produce large gametes.
Oh,
I would
how
say
about
that would be a
how about
necessary qualifier to
how
meet
about the
female.
people who can't produce large gametes? What are
I'm
they?
not saying that you must that's not what I said. Don't straw man my position. What I said was coming from the sex that has the ability to produce large
Okay, great.
gametes.
Okay, great. Now, what do you
Does the
need?
female
What is
sex
a
have the
necessary?
ability to
Now,
produce large gametes?
what's a necessary condition for being
Can you
female?
answer my question?
Hold on, hold
I
on.
just gave it to you. What are you talking about?
No,
Coming from the sex that has the
define.
ability to produce large gametes.
You
That is the
define.
necessary qualifier.
That's the definition of female. I'm asking you, what are the traits that are necessary to be female?
Just gave it. That is the
No,
trait.
what are the traits that are needed
Well,
to be female?
what do you take a trait to mean?
A characteristic of somebody.
Then a
For somebody.
characteristic of somebody would be coming from the sex that has the ability to produce large gametes. That is a
I
characteristic
think that's a characteristic.
under your
That
definition.
sounds like a definition, right? I'm asking you for a single characteristic,
What do you
a
take?
single trait, a
Yo,
single,
there's no way.
a single feature of sex, right?
Is that not a feature?
Like, for example, describe to
Is
me.
coming from the sex that has the ability to produce large gametes not a feature?
Hold on. Clearly,
Is it or is it not a feature? You have to meet.
clearly,
You're losing.
Clearly, when you say sex, or when you say produces large gametes, that requires sex organs. I'm asking you simply, what are the organs? What are the sex traits that are required to be female? Do you have that answer?
What are you talking about? I don't care. It doesn't matter what the traits are. That isn't the necessary qualifier. The necessary
I'm
qualifier
asking
to be
you, what
a
is the
female. Can I
necessary
finish?
qualifier
You
to be
muted me
female?
when I interrupted you. So just allow me the ability to finish, right? So as I was saying, a trait of these sex organs is not a necessary qualifier. The only necessary qualifier to meet the definition of female under my worldview is coming from the sex that has the ability to produce large gametes.
But what does female mean?
I just gave you the definition can be the necessary qualifier.
So the
Unless you don't
definition-
think it.
So the
Yes.
definition can be a trait.
Yes.
Oh, so then I can just define anything I want to exist. I could say, well, trans women are by definition women. That's a necessary qualifier. There you go.
Under your worldview, sure, but my worldview doesn't infinitely regress like yours
Oh,
does.
okay. Okay, great. So there's nothing wrong linguistically with my definition. You have a problem with what? What's the problem with what's saying trans women are women?
I think if you claim that this is just a subjective definition that has no truth value to it, I think then we can agree.
That's not what. No.
Does it have truth value?
Yes, it's true that trans
Okay,
women
so
are
it's
women.
true.
Yes,
Okay,
it's
under
true
what?
that trans
Under
women are
what?
women.
Yeah.
Definitions.
What account?
true
What
or
account of
false.
truth?
They're just
Yeah. What?
definitions.
Okay. What account of truth do you adhere to? A criminal account of truth? What account of truth do you hold to?
A criminal.
Criminal, primal. Those
Primal or
words are kind
primal?
of
What is that?
synonymous.
What does it mean to be primal or primal?
A primal account of truth. Is Do you not understand what that means, or?
I'm asking you, what does it mean?
I'm just asking. Are you doing this as a dig, or are you doing this because you generally don't
Oh, you don't even
understand?
know what the fuck you're talking about. You don't even know what you're talking
I'm
about.
clarifying the question.
You don't know what you're talking about. Can you explain
I'm
it to me?
clarifying the question.
What does it
I'm
mean?
clarifying the
Can you explain
question.
it to me?
I'm just asking, what account of truth do you hold to? What makes something true?
I don't know. You tell me. You said
This
you
is
said
your
it's
claim. What are you
criminal.
talking about? I haven't made the claim that something is true or not true. You made the claim that something is true.
It's true based on the fact that it corresponds to reality.
And how does it correspond to reality?
Oh my God, because we observe and then what we describe matches the observation. That's how it corresponds to reality. So can you explain to me now why trans women are not women?
So wait, is this objectively true?
What is objectively true?
It is the statement you're making. Are you saying that this is objectively true?
What statement?
That trans women are women.
Oh yeah, trans women are women by definition. It's an analytical claim. So that's an objective fact.
Okay, so objectively they are women.
Yes, because by definition they are women.
So absent a mind, them being a woman is
That's
still true.
not about minds, it's about stances, right? So objectivity means stance independency. So yes, beyond your stance about it, trans women are women.
Okay, and what makes a trans woman a woman?
Their identity.
Their identity, and is their identity making them is their identity that makes them a woman a stance or no?
Their identity is womanhood, right? Womanhood is an identity.
Can you answer the question? It's just a yes or no.
Your question is malformed.
How is it First off, what does
Because-
malformed mean? And secondly, how does it apply to this?
Wrongly formed. That's all it means. It's poorly
Okay,
formed.
and how is the question wrongly formed?
Because you asked me, how does the identity that makes you a woman? There's no such thing, right? Womanhood is.
If somebody identifies as a woman, is that a stance? That is the question.
Is it a stance? What?
Yes.
No, it's just a
You
fact.
said
Somebody identifies as a
what
woman.
makes somebody.
That's a fact.
Yeah, you said what makes somebody a woman is their identity. Correct or incorrect?
Womanhood is an identity. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so you're saying in order for a trans woman to be a woman, their identity must be woman.
Yes, trans women are women because their identity is woman. Period.
Now what is a woman? Now what is a woman?
It's a gender identity that aligns with female typical traits.
Female typical traits. Okay, now if somebody, let's just take the case of like a tomboy woman that never addresses her gender, never tells you what they want or whatnot, tells you what they want to be, never tells you what they want to be referred as. Are they still a woman, or would they be considered a man?
If their identity is woman, they're women. What are you not grasping here, sir?
I just gave you a hypothetical in which they never addressed whether they are a woman or not.
We don't know their identity then. I don't know your identity.
Oh, so they're just a thing. So they're just a thing walking through Earth.
What?
So they're just a thing walking through Earth.
We don't know their identity. They do.
Right.
I don't.
They just don't address it. They don't care.
Yeah. If they don't address who they are, we don't know who they are. It's that simple.
Okay, so they wouldn't be a woman or a man?
If their identity was woman, they would be woman. What is so
They
hard
don't
to grasp
understand.
here?
Let's just say they don't understand what identity is. Are they a woman or are they a man?
We don't have to understand identity to have an identity. That doesn't make any sense.
Then how do these trans women know they're women?
Because they have a deep internal sense of who they are. We all have this.
So you have to know your identity? This is so circular, bro. You've had like 5 wonders this entire conversation.
Identity is something we all have, right? It's just something we
Yeah.
have. Even as we're
Yep.
toddlers, we know our identities. We have a sense of our identities.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying here. Trans
And again,
women
how do
are
trans
women
and
because that's their
how do
identity.
trans women know that they're women?
Because their identity is woman.
Okay, so this tomboy woman does not understand their identity. Are they nothing or are they a woman?
What do you mean they don't understand their identity? What does that
Yeah,
even
they don't
mean?
know their identity. They don't know what identity is. They don't understand
There's no
it.
such thing as not knowing your identity.
There's no such thing as not knowing your identity.
Unless you're mentally disabled, right? Unless you're mentally disabled and you have no
Give me 2
brain
seconds.
activity, everybody understands who they are. Everybody has a sense of their awareness. This is unconscious, right? See, that's like asking, what if you don't know your sense of self? That doesn't make any sense. Everybody has a sense of self, right? In the same way, that's how gender works. Gender identity is that deep sense unconsciously happening that you're a man or you're a woman or you're non-binary or whatever, right? So everybody has this. It's unconscious. So you don't have to think about it. You don't have to consciously be aware of it to have it. Hello? Hello? Okay.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Are you driving?
Oh, no, I just walked back into work.
Okay, great. Yeah, so did you listen to what I said?
Yeah, no, I heard what you said. So let's just say that, would you say like a name would be a full identity?
You're cutting in and out. We can't hear you. You're not getting signal, sir. All right, let's get on to the next victim.
Hello? Hello?
Hi, how old are you?
Yeah, can you hear?
How old are you?
18.
What year were you born?
2008.
All right, it's crazy. Okay, what do you got?
Alright, I just want to go over the you should be vegan one. I am going to disagree with that. Do you want to go ahead and give me your reasoning for why you should be vegan, or do you want me to defend why I don't
do you think that we should slaughter animals? Do you think that it's okay to abuse others?
Okay, so 2 things to unpack here. You assume that animals have the same moral value as a human being that has conscious ability to experience more complex emotions. And 2, I think that's like saying it's immoral for a lion to slaughter its prey.
It would be. It is immoral for anybody to be slaughtered. I'm asking you, what to you justifies slaughtering others? What justifies doing that?
When it benefits your development, your growth, and your overall well-being.
Okay, great. So if I were to slaughter you and eat your body and it made me better and made me happier, that would be okay?
No, because I am a conscious human being. Hold on.
Then your justification falls apart. Then your justification falls apart then.
Actually, my justification never fell apart. Here's the thing. When I said that it benefits, develops, and it further improves your own well-being, a part of your well-being is your own social circle. We are social animals who are a part of a functioning society. That means if I were to then slaughter you, eat you, and consume you, I would be chastised and cast away and probably put in jail.
Oh, okay. What if there were no social consequences, though?
So if there was no social consequences or social laws or anything deeming what's immoral or moral, then yeah, it would be completely justified because there's no system to say what's unjustifiable. Is that completely? That's your logic here. You're basically saying, hold on. Here, listen to yourself again. You said if there is nobody to enforce law, if there's no
So you think that if there were no consequences, it would be okay to stuff billions of people into gas chambers and eat their bodies? Yes or no?
Yeah, I did not say that. I said by your logic.
Oh,
You
what's wrong with
propose
that?
it.
If there's no social consequences, what's wrong with that?
Let me finish. Because you're panicking. Here's what you exactly said. You said if there's no society, no social construct, no punishment, nobody enforcing what the moral standard is, right? That would basically mean we are in an animalistic society where we're all independent from each other.
Can you just answer the question? If there were no social
Yeah.
consequences,
Hold on.
yes
Okay,
or
if there's no
would it-
social
hold on.
consequences, okay, if there's no consequences, then it's not justified. If there's no society in general, if there's nobody to tell you if there's a moral standard or not, if there's basically we're regressed back to the point
Oh
where
my
we're
God,
nothing
can you
but
stop
an
talking,
animal.
yapping, and just answer the question?
You are not listening.
Please,
You're
please
simply
stop, please, and just answer the question. I'm just asking you. If there were no social consequences, would it be okay to stuff 1 million people into a gas chamber and eat their body parts because it benefited you? Yes or no? Would it be right or wrong?
If there's no social consequences, no, it's not justified.
I thought you said before if there
I didn't-
were
if you let
were
me
social
finish, you'd
consequences,
actually
it
understand what I
wasn't
was saying.
justified.
Oh, if you let me finish, you'd understand what I was saying. Okay. Do you want me to repeat it? And you can actually pay
You're
attention.
being contradictory.
I'm not being contradictory. You're not.
Before
You're
you
not
said if
listening
there's
to
no
the entire thing.
consequences, it's okay. Now you're
I
saying
never
it's
said.
wrong.
Hold on, host. I said no consequences and a myriad of other things to also then be checked off for it to be okay. So again, this is where context is actually needed, right? Now stop putting your hand in your head and actually start listening, right? Here, one. Okay, one. We are human beings who are a part of a society. First of all, for your argument to stand, you have to show me where our morality is grounded. I don't know if you believe.
This is irrelevant where morality comes from. I'm just an internal critique.
The suffering of
Stop. Shh. It's an internal critique. I don't care about where morality comes from. I'm taking your own ethical framework and showing you the hypocrisy. In your view, it's wrong to gas people. Why is it wrong? Why is it okay, though, to gas pigs? What's the difference? What's the morally relevant difference here, sir? Can you point out the difference between pigs and humans that makes it okay to slaughter them?
Pigs don't have personhood. Humans do.
Okay, and what does it take to be a person?
What does it mean to be a person? You have to have the ability to experience every most complex emotion.
Really?
Hold on. I'm not done yet. The potential to a betterment or future, the potential to feel joy, and the innate value of being a part of the human species.
Okay, great. So if this human being has no capacity to experience emotions, and they're just in their house, they have no social contact, are they persons or what or not?
So a human being who has no capacity to experience emotion is just a brain dead person, which is also by medical law.
There are people.
So
let's just say this person had mental activity. It's just they had no emotions. Would it be okay to slaughter them?
So I said the ability to experience everything from suffering. Suffering also comes as pain. If they can,
let's say they can't. Well, animals can experience suffering, so that doesn't matter.
Animals can't experience the full constant of personhood.
Neither can a human baby.
A human baby can't feel pain.
You said they have to experience all the experiences, but not human babies don't do that.
Do you want me to? Okay, I said.
Are they not people?
Okay, here's the thing. I said they should be able to experience all things. They should have the ability in the future to possibly experience something. They should then also finally have the qualifying factor that they are simply a human being, part of our species. That is what gives them value.
Well,
it's called the value of an
non-human animals have all those traits.
Non-human animals are not humans.
Can you please stop and just listen? Non-human animals have all those abilities. They have the ability to experience. They have the ability to experience emotions and suffering and all those things. So it comes down to this sheer fact that there are different species. So are you telling me then that what makes it okay to slaughter a dog is because they're a different species? Is that correct? I get to abuse dogs because they're a different species? Yes or no?
No, because dogs aren't beneficial to us. What? That's a terrible example. That is a terrible example. That's a terrible example.
So now your justification. Hold on. I know you're stuck here, kid.
No, I ain't.
But now your only
You're not letting me
justification.
complete.
No. You just said, "Oh, we're persons." They're not, and I gave you a dog. It's not a person. But now you're saying, "Oh, well, they don't give us benefits." Okay. So what you're saying now is the only thing that justifies abusing somebody is if it gives you a benefit. So let's say I enjoyed the way the dog squealed when I killed it. It benefited me. Would that be okay to do because there's a benefit to me there, kid? Please answer with a yes or no. Microphone button. We can't hear you. You got to press the microphone button, sir.
All right, can you hear me? All right, cool. Right. No. Now, will you please stop strawmanning my arguments? Okay. What did I say in the very beginning? No, but I want to know if you even paid attention to a single thing I said. What did I say in the very beginning?
You said because it benefits us, we get to harm him.
No, I said a lot more than just that. That tells me already you strawmanned everything I said. I said it needs to betterment our development, our social and health and physical well-being, and our overall, right? I also said that the justification for causing suffering to an animal, which, mind you, is very different from the suffering that can be caused to a human, because again, humans have the ability to experience more and different complex emotions.
Not all the time. Not all the time.
Hold on. Here's the other thing. The reason why it's not justifiable to abuse dogs, or the reason why most other animals that you see in the animal kingdom aren't just livestock, is for a multitude of reasons. One, it isn't beneficial to us in any sort of way. And let me justify.
But it is.
No,
do you know that there? No, stop. This is just false. No. There are plenty cultures in the world today that consume and slaughter dogs and farm dogs. So you're wrong. There is a benefit. Sir,
buddy, you don't let me finish.
Killing a person would be a benefit to me if I like the way their body tasted. This line of reasoning is a trap. It benefits us. But benefits don't justify doing something all the time. Right?
All right, can you please stop interrupting me? Oh my gosh, it's like I can't finish a single thought. Again, widespread. Does every meat industry use dogs? No, and there's a reason.
Irrelevant.
There's a reason.
The point is that people see benefits in farming dogs. I'm asking you, does that justify doing it?
Because that's not justified.
Why not? Why not if it benefits us?
Because it's not actually benefiting them. That's just called a mistake.
It is absolutely benefiting them, sir. That's why there's a whole industry of dog
industry. When you talk about the meat industry, you got to talk about the largest sectors, which is usually the harvest of cows, pigs, and other livestock animals that you would typically see on a farm. You don't see dogs getting en masse murder.
Yes, you do. Absolutely,
no, you
do.
don't. That is simply a lie.
Right, please. Millions of dogs are slaughtered in various cultures globally per year.
That isn't wrong.
And that's
I'm
wrong.
not saying that's right.
Why is it wrong if it gives them benefits?
Oh my gosh. Because it's not truly beneficial. Now,
why not? Why is it not beneficial? It gives them money.
Thank you. I get to finally explain.
Stop. Stop. This is important. Listen. It benefits them by taste pleasure. It gives them money. You can make a lot of money killing and slaughtering dogs, right? And selling it. How does it not benefit them? Explain that to me.
Okay, thank you. Now, I'll answer. 1, dogs can't reproduce at the same speed as pigs, cows. Hold on, before you mute me, because I already see you looking away. Listen, this is also why dogs aren't popular in the meat industry. They don't reproduce at the same speed. They don't produce the same amount of mass by muscle at the same speed. They don't have any capability that actually allows them to be viable livestock. You can't farm them at large scale. You can't.
Yes, you
But-
can. 30 million per
Compare
year
that
are
to
killed.
cows. Compare that to cows, chickens, or pigs. Please,
Not
I
much.
dare you.
Maybe 5 or 6 times more in the case of cows.
Not billions.
No,
You're comparing millions to billions.
No. 30 million is maybe 5 or 6 times less than the 3 billion cows we slaughter per year.
That's just simple math wrong. That's just wrong. That's actually wrong. So here's the thing. Here's what I just did. I proved to you why the majority of meat industry doesn't use the typical animals that you're using to strawman my argument, okay? And I explained that to you in the most logical way. Now, I'll explain that. 1, I never was trying to justify the specific people who are slaughtering dogs. I never said slaughtering dogs are wrong. You never gave me the chance to explain why. All right? Instead, you tried to mute me and then use my ethical construct, which was, again, based on the most popular livestock animals, right? Which was based on the slaughter of pigs, cows, chickens, and what other, like goats and stuff. I mean, depends on where you are, right? That's where my ethical construct comes from. Because typically, okay, I'm going to low-key dox myself. I'm in America, right? Typically, when I go and I'm about to buy a meat product, what animals will I typically see aside from seafood?
Why
Cows?
are you yapping? Why the
You're
fuck
not
are
letting
you
me
yapping?
finish because you don't
Stop.
listen.
It's irrelevant. Everything you're saying is just gibber eating. I'm simply
just don't
asking
listen.
you to I'm trying to get to the point here. What morally justifies slaughtering pigs but not dogs? They're not persons. Neither are persons to you. So what's the difference? They both can give you benefits. You can mass breed both of them. There's no fucking difference. What is the
There's
difference?
a
I'm simply
there's a
asking you the
distinct
morally
difference.
relevant distinction.
Okay, here. You're asking this on an individualistic level now, right? Here. This is why I eat pork and I don't eat a dog, okay? I'll explain that to you in the best way possible. Because there is a lot more availability, a lot more benefit, a lot more mass, a lot more just general sense that a pig can give me more benefit than consuming a dog would.
Okay, great. So if we suddenly started to mass breed dogs in America, or let's make it worse, we started to mass breed toddlers in America, and now there's more toddler meat than pig meat. Would that justify slaughtering toddlers for their meat?
Did you just say okay? Toddlers are humans.
Yes or
That's
no?
why it's unjustified.
Yes or no?
No, because toddlers are humans.
So they're humans. So what you're saying now is the sheer species they are, correct?
I said that in the beginning too.
Okay.
It's not like I didn't say
then
that.
it comes down to just their species. So what you're telling me is dogs are okay to abuse and slaughter because they're a different species.
No. See, again, you're strawmanning
You're
again.
being contradictory.
Wait,
You're
no,
being
you're
contradictory.
strawmanning.
You can't say
Did I not?
species.
Wait, did I not
You can't
say species and a couple other things?
You can't say it is and is not species that justifies harming animals. You're contradictory. Which is it? Is it species? Is it because they're not humans that it's okay to do it? Or is it something else? You haven't shown it.
Do you understand that I use species and a couple other things to justify it, right? It wasn't just species. Yes, we are different from dogs, but there's a reason why we don't slaughter, and there's a reason why it's not justified to abuse your dog.
Yes, and the reason is made up by our society. It's cultural. It's culturally induced. Oh, we like dogs are friends. Dogs are friends. Cows are food. It's a culturally produced rhetoric, and you're falling for it because you can't think, right? When we actually interrogate your view, there's a contradiction. You're unable to explain the difference. That's why you're wrong here.
Okay. Yes, it's cultural. Yes, it's societal. We consider cows
Exactly.
food.
And just because society
here's the thing.
says it's okay does not make it okay, correct?
But there is instances where society does end up being right. Is it not?
Okay, but if
Society
this
all
were
came together and said
slavery,
murder is wrong.
let's say this was 1800 and society says slavery is okay. Would you be okay with that? Would you be okay with slavery, sir? Because society said it's
because
okay.
there's so much more. There's so much other
Great.
arguments for
So then you
morality.
can't appeal to society or culture on this as a moral justifier.
So here's the thing. Right? That's now. If you would allow me to actually speak without muting me every 5 seconds, God, I said species, and then the also the ability to benefit us on mass produce, on mass scale. Okay.
Dogs can fit that
Dogs
criteria. Dogs
30
fit that
million
criteria.
hold on. We as a human population could easily survive off of the livestock of cattle alone. If we as a population suddenly swapped
What
to
if we
eating
started to
only
fatten
dogs,
up
we would
people?
fail.
Okay,
Huh?
so then what you're telling me is if we started to fatten up dogs and make them
That simply
bigger.
is not ever going to happen.
Hold on.
This is not going to happen.
Stop. If we begin to inject hormones, growth hormones into dogs, made them fatter, bigger, as big as cows, then would it be okay to slaughter dogs?
Dude, this argument, this
Yes
straw
or
man
no?
is
Yes
no.
or
The straw
no?
man is
Yes
wait,
or
no.
no?
No, wait, no, because the straw man is on like the same scale
Okay,
as
so then you can't
if
use
I
that
turn into a
justifier
magical
either.
angel,
No,
wait,
you can't use that justification either. You just said, well, we get more meat out of the cow than the dog. We get more of it. Well, then
wait, tell me this.
if we reversed it and so that we got more meat from dogs than cows, you would still say, no, it's wrong to kill the dog.
Honestly,
so
I
we
wouldn't.
can't use that justifier.
I
You're being
wouldn't.
contradictory
No, I
yet
wouldn't.
again.
If dogs could benefit us on a higher scale, if we could say, if dogs produce more meat, reproduce faster, if they were just like cows, then yes, swap them out with cattle. Wait, why do you think it's
Really?
wrong? Wait,
Really?
why do you think it's
Okay,
wrong?
so
No,
then
why do you think
that's-
it's wrong?
Okay, that's a great bullet to bite because guess what? Now we can squeeze it up a notch, turn it up a notch here. What if we took humans and made them fat as cows? We gave them growth hormones and then ate their body parts. Would that be okay because we get lots of benefit from them?
Nah, you got trapped. Humans are a part of the human species. Doesn't fall under species.
So now you're saying species again. So it's
Oh
not
my
about
gosh, you're
fattening
acting like
up.
I didn't
It's
say it
not
in the
about-
first time.
It's not about getting benefit from the meat. We're back to species, which then you said it's wrong to kill dogs right now because even though they're different species, you're being contradictory. You can't have your cake. You can't have it both ways.
Oh my gosh, when did I have it both ways? Okay,
Because
let's break
species justifies it. You're saying species. Pigs are a different species.
Hold on. You proposed.
You're not tracking.
I did. Hold on.
Listen. You said that pigs were a different species. That's why it's okay to harm them. Then I showed you humans. What if we made humans into fat people? And you said, no, it's still wrong because we're the same species. But then you're saying, then I raised the dog example and you said it's still wrong, even though they're a different species. So why does it apply to pigs but not dogs? What's the difference?
Okay. See, this is where you became circular. You proposed dogs being as fat and able to produce meat as cows. That's when I justified it, right? So here, if humans were suddenly able to produce meat and become like cattle, it's wrong because they're a part of your species, right? If dogs don't, right now, dogs are not as big as cattle.
Okay, great.
That's why it's
all right. So let me ask you this, and let's try to go this way.
Go ahead.
If we found out tomorrow that there are some people on this planet who are not our species, they're a different species, they're Homo sapiens, would it then be okay to slaughter them and put them in the gas chambers and eat their bodies?
Do you understand how dumb that sounds? You basically said, "Oh, if there's another animal that
Yes
we
or no,
discovered."
Harry? Yes or no?
Yeah, if I found out there's sharks that are not a part that we never knew about.
That's not what I'm
yeah,
saying,
that's
sir.
what you're saying. Hold on, that's what you're saying.
What if tomorrow we discover that some people are actually not our species? They're actually a different species than us.
So you found out some people are animals that have the ability to be conscious and experience things like humans do. That gives them personhood. That means they are a part of a complex species. No, like you literally defeated yourself with your own scenario.
Species. So then it's not species that matters. It's consciousness. Animals have that.
I mean, you kind of just played that into yourself. Like, yeah, what are you supposed to say? We're not supposed to harm conscious things?
I'm showing you that you're being contradictory every which way you go. You can't escape the contradictions in your view because you're not vegan. See, it's easy for me.
Okay, here.
It's wrong to harm a dog and a pig and a cow and a person. That's simple.
Okay.
It's consistent.
Okay,
You're
fine,
being
sure.
very
It's wrong, but that doesn't mean it should be condemned.
What? When there's a moral dilemma, right? Of course we should be condemning it because it's a moral issue that needs to be resolved, just like slavery was, right? Just like the women's suffrage movement, just like the,
here's the thing.
LGBT
You haven't been able
movement.
to track it the entire
All
time.
these require being challenged. That's why we are challenging your slaughtering of the animals.
Okay, here's the thing. Now, dogs. I will go back to why I justified not hurting dogs, but hurting cattle. Okay? Dogs. They benefit us. They don't benefit us economically. They don't benefit us socioculturally.
They do.
Aside from, oh my God,
Do you
what I
understand
mean by the meat industry.
do you understand that people fight dogs? They have rings where they fight with dogs and they make money from that. Lots of
And
money.
was that not condemned?
Do you
I wonder
condemn
why
it?
it's condemned.
Do you condemn it?
I do condemn it. Yeah.
Why? When it
Because
gives them
again,
money, when it gives them economic benefit.
On the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't. It costs them more money than it makes them.
Okay. So
It
now it
costs
has
them
to
more
be a
money than it makes
grand
them.
scheme in which it benefits us. Well, then you should be vegan then, sir, because studies show that if the world were to be vegan, we'd actually have billions of more dollars in our pockets
Cite the
because of the
study.
healthcare. Listen.
No, cite
Veganism would benefit the economy globally drastically because of the healthcare system. It's heavily taxed by people with heart disease and cancers and obesity, which are caused primarily by consuming animal-based foods. And so in a vegan world in which BMIs would be lower and health would be better, the healthcare systems would save billions of dollars, collectively perhaps trillions of dollars. And so you're actually arguing for veganism by saying it's economically better.
Okay, yeah. One, I would love you to cite the actual study because I'm calling bull on this. And two, I'll explain to you why actually it's okay, medically it's wrong. It's actually complete bull. If anything, low carb, low veganistic diets honestly show better outcomes and health than vegan diets. Guess what? Vegan diets typically consist of high carb-based diets, right? If we were to compare a vegan to a carnivore or somebody who's taking a carnivorous diet, right? Somebody who eats a lot of meat and almost no carbs, there's a better health outcome for them in every sector of their health, their cardiovascular.
All right. So here's the source. It's called Analysis and Valuation of the Health and Climate Change Co-Benefits of Dietary Change, and it demonstrates that vegan diets could save us $700 billion to $1 trillion per year by 2050.
By what? BuzzFeed.com? What's the source? You just said the name of the article. What's the source? Say the source's name. You're acting like it's impossible.
The name of the article is the source.
Wait, the name of the article is veganism will save trillions of dollars in the health market?
No, I'll say it again for you. Analysis and valuation of the health and climate change co-benefits of dietary change.
Now read it out for me. Just read out what gives you this idea.
It was an Oxford review in which they looked at all the dietary patterns around the world and the emissions, and they found with modeling computer modeling that if everybody were to be vegan, the world would save about up to $1 trillion. United States would save about $1 trillion per year in
So if
2020
the world were to be vegan, the United States would save $1 trillion every year.
per year.
Wow, 1 trillion is actually just chump change to the United States. You do understand that, right?
Oh my
Wait,
God!
you do understand that, right? Like, oh my
Hear that,
gosh,
folks? $1
that is
trillion dollars per year is chump change. Dude, that could save. That could
that is
feed all
bogus.
of humanity.
Oh
Dude,
my
$1 trillion dollars per year could fund so much. It could help it could give everybody free healthcare, everybody free college. It could be everybody free anything.
Okay.
That could be tremendous to help Americans. And you're saying, no, we don't need that.
No, I got you. I actually have sources of my own right here, right? So let's look ancestrally. All right, we're gonna use a lot from the National Institute of Health. Okay, so first of all, high carnivorous diets with low carbs, which is typically the opposite of a vegan diet, has low LDH, low bad cholesterol, and better cardiovascular health outcomes. Right? They have younger hearts. There's your first one. The largest main leading cause of death in the United States is cardiovascular disease.
Go ahead and cite the study that shows this.
All right, let me grab my computer. Go ahead and just search it up. NIH, cardiovascular outcomes of
We're not going to do the search it up thing. You're going to give me the fucking source as I did
I'm on
for
my
you.
phone right now. I'm on my phone right now, but
That's not a fucking excuse, sir. I'm asking you to give me a source or go away. Here's a study called, while we're waiting for this person, I'll cite some sources here. Red meat intake and risk of type 2 diabetes in a prospective cohort study of United States females and males. It demonstrated that red meat consumption raises risk of CVD, cardiovascular disease, by 30 to 40%. Another study. This is the Adventist Health 2 study. It found that vegetarian dietary patterns and vegan dietary patterns were associated with lower mortality. Ooh.
I got the study. Can you hear me?
Great. Yeah. What's it called?
Yeah. Go to the NIH. It's the high compliance. Oh, it's a long title. High compliance with dietary recommendations. I'm on my phone, so it's gonna cut out a lot. In a cohort of meat eaters.
Oh, where'd you go? Did you just dip? What? Where'd he go? Okay. This study, so I'm looking this study up, and all it's saying is that meat eaters tended to follow the recommendations. That this doesn't tell us about their health. Are you? I didn't see you. I don't see you coming back up. Where did you go? You're not. I don't see you, Ari. You're welcome to come back up, but I just looked at your study and it doesn't actually show that vegans have worse health outcomes. It just shows that meat eaters are more compliant to the recommended health guidelines. I don't see how that even remotely matters. So, yeah. All right, well, I guess Ari's not coming back. Let's get the next victim in here.
Hello?
Hey, how are you?
Pretty good. All right, number one, God is imaginary. Would you like some proof that he's not?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, number one, he's not imaginary because of miracles. Miracles happen. They are unexplained by science, which is what you use to debunk God. That's number one. Number two, you should be vegan. I can give you a moral argument for that. Number three,
Wait, hold on. Let's start with the first one, okay? You
Sure.
said there's miracles. What is a miracle, and what miracles have we observed?
Look up the definition of a miracle, because you said they're objective with that other guy. But a miracle is something that happens and it's unexplained or unbacked by science. So the only other explanation would be God.
Unexplained
Right or
by
wrong?
science. Okay,
Yep,
what
unbacked by
have
science.
we
We don't know
observed
what-
that is
we don't know-
unexplained by science? Hold on. What have we observed that is unexplained by science, but is better explained by God?
There's a fuck ton of miracles I could give you, but we could talk about medical miracles. Doctors don't know.
Okay, give an example of a medical
Okay,
miracle
there was a
which
kid that was
demonstrates God exists.
Well, I'm telling you, miracles are what prove God's existence. But for example, I don't remember exactly when it happened, but there was a kid a long time ago stuck under water in a super cold climate, fell into the ice, and he was under there for like 40, 50 minutes. Now, normally he would have an anoxic brain injury, would have been brain dead. So he essentially, doctors didn't know how, but he ended up making a full recovery, trapped under the water for like 50 minutes or an hour, something crazy like that. That is a medical miracle, or just a miracle. And scientists, doctors couldn't explain it. So how do you justify that? And also, that's a direct proof for God. It's a miracle.
So first of all, I just looked it up. It's very possible that this person survived for 45 minutes, even in very cold waters. It depends
The
on the
cold water
conditions.
is
It
what you're
depends
gonna
on the
say,
humidity. It
but
depends on the
it's still a miracle.
conditions. Oh, hold on.
Hold on.
It depends on the conditions. Do we know what the conditions were at the moment? Do we know if
Yes.
he was wearing clothing? Okay, what clothing? Was he wearing a flotation device?
That's irrelevant. He was under the water for 50 minutes.
This is very irrelevant.
What you're going to
It's
tell me?
It's extremely relevant, sir.
Okay, why the
Was
clothes
this
that he was
person-
wearing matter?
What was this person wearing, and
Why does
what
that matter?
were the conditions?
Why does that matter? The conditions
Because
were.
those, oh my God, shh. The reason why this matters, these factors matter, is because if the conditions are right, that person can survive by scientific means. There's a perfectly plausible scientific explanation for this if we just understood the conditions.
Okay. Tell me the conditions that make it possible.
This person was wearing certain clothing that could
Mhm.
reduce the cold shock, right?
Mm.
It depends on the temperature of the water, depends on the temperature of the outside. It depends on the conditions of the outside of the environment.
Okay,
It
so
depends on how this person was breathing. It depends on
yeah, you're right.
it depends
So,
on many things.
First of all, you're saying the clothes he was wearing reduced cold shock.
Yes.
That would have actually hindered him. What helped him survive, which still doesn't explain the medical miracle that is God, was that his body temperature was so cold that it reduced the amount of hypoxia, reduced his heart rate, things like that. Yeah, sure, he wasn't breathing, so he didn't aspirate, but that's still these are possibilities as to why he might have made a full recovery, but it's still a miracle in that doctors don't understand why he was able to make a full
Then
recovery.
you
That's still a miracle.
So you just agreed that there are scientific explanations for them.
Possible reasons, hypotheses as to why he might have made a full recovery, but
That's the point. That's the
Dude,
point. This is why it's not evidence for God, because there's an equally plausible scientific explanation.
no, not equally plausible scientific explanation, plausible hypotheses as to why he might have made a full
That's what
recovery. But
hypothesis.
it doesn't explain the
explanation,
exact
same
full
thing.
recovery, and you can't tell me exactly why he made a full recovery.
We don't
That's
know
just
the
one
story.
example.
We haven't.
Look
is
it
there
up.
is there
I
a
told
study
you right now what it is.
Please. Is there a study on this event? Is there a medical record of this event?
I'm sure there's plenty.
You can't just tell me I'm sure or trust me, bro. Literally, you have to explain. You have to
Do you think
demonstrate
there's
that.
not?
If you're going to
Do you
make
think
the
it was a
case,
study?
hold on. If you're going to make the case that this is evidence of God, you need
Mhm.
way more data than I'm sure it's out there somewhere.
It's out there somewhere. Let's keep searching Google.
Okay, so what's your point? I need more data for
My
what?
point is that there's a perfectly plausible scientific explanation.
Okay, what is that?
It is not at
Tell me
all
that. What is
remotely
it?
get to us that God exists.
Okay, the perfectly plausible explanation that is fact, objective fact. What is that? Tell me. Because I'm telling you that there are none. And the only other explanation, well, to me, it's a miracle is God. Because it's
And we
not
know
science.
how. No, you can't just say, "Oh, there's no scientific
Okay, why?
explanation," because I
Tell me
don't
why.
like. The explanation could be. And by the way, did you say that this person was recovered fully?
Yeah, he made a full recovery. He was not brain dead.
Yeah. Where's your
Like,
source on that? Where's your source on that?
dude, it's like Ari. I would have to go on the internet, but I don't want to be kicked out. I don't have it on me at the time. Just look it up. Boy trapped underwater for an hour, made full recovery. Neurosurvivability discharge.
When do you know when this happened?
No.
So here's a study that somebody thankfully found in the comment section. Perhaps it was this case. This is 2002. It says neurodevelopmental outcome for an extended cold water drowning, a longitudinal case study. The present case tracks the neurophysiological profile of a child who was submerged for 66 minutes, the longest time documented. Acute medical support was aggressive and recovery was dramatic, being featured in multiple media reports. Although an article published 6 years after the drowning described the child as recovering completely, the longitudinal profile includes a pronounced pattern of broad cognitive difficulties, particularly notable for global memory impairment. So this person was severely impaired by this
Doesn't
incident.
matter. It's still a miracle
It
that he
doesn't-
was able to even walk out of the hospital. Of course, you're gonna have some traumatic brain injury from
does
that,
it
dude.
matter
Of course, you're
now?
gonna have some cognitive impairment. Yes, let me tell you why. That doesn't matter because, of course, you're gonna have some cognitive impairment from being underwater for 60 seconds, not breathing for 60 seconds. My point is that he was even able to walk out of the fucking hospital. That in and of itself is a miracle. Tell me why that is, other than
Okay.
God. And you
This
said I
reminds-
can't just
this-
say just because I don't, just because there's no other explanation, it has to be God. Well, then tell me another
This reminds
explanation.
me of a dark matter video where there's several situations, and the first one is a person gets shot in the leg and he survives, and is like, "Isn't God great?
That's not a
God
miracle.
saved that young man."
That's not a miracle.
The next situation, this
Not a
person
miracle.
gets shot in the chest, barely makes it, right?
That can be
Thank
fully
God he
explained.
survived. Thank God he survived. The next one, this person gets shot and dies.
You're being intellectually
And
dishonest
then
right
the
now.
and then the Christian is saying, "Isn't God great? Now he's in a better world." So this is what you're doing. In every single
No, it's not.
situation, you would say, "Isn't God great? This person drowned and survived. He can't walk anymore, but isn't God great for saving him?" Right? If this child died, you would still say the same thing.
No, I wouldn't.
Isn't God great?
No, I wouldn't.
Now he's in a better place.
I wouldn't have said that.
It's
You're
all
wrong.
part of God's plan.
Mike, I wouldn't have said that. You're wrong.
Okay.
I would
So
not
then-
have said that.
so then
This
what you're
wouldn't have been
saying- So then what you're saying is that even though there is a scientific explanation and that this person was
Oh my
severely impaired,
Mhm.
that was God meddling in to help this child.
Yes. That's exactly what I'm
Okay.
saying. It was a miracle. There is no
Okay.
explanation, which is
So-
what you're saying. There's no explanation.
So God couldn't have
Just possible
removed the
theories.
impairment. God couldn't have helped this child not be impaired?
I don't know. Maybe, maybe not.
You
What's your
don't
point?
know what God can do, but now
I don't
but all of a
understand why
sudden,
God
before
doesn't
you
think
just
he
said
does.
you knew God was meddling in. Now you don't know if God can help.
I just said
What's
him
this?
meddling
Can
in.
God help you? Can
Him
God
meddling
cure
in
cancer?
was him meddling in was giving him a survivable outcome. Why he didn't
So
stop
in
any
all the
cognitive
cases where
impairments, I
somebody
don't know.
dies, that's what is God doing then?
I don't know his greater purpose. None of us know.
He has a greater purpose. You just fell into my trap.
What
He
if
has
what
a
if that
pl-
guy
he
what if
has
that
a
guy would have
plan.
went on to
No matter
become
what,
Hitler
you
or
can-
Jeffrey Dahmer?
If that
I don't
child
know.
died,
What
sir,
if he went on to become a
if
serial
this
killer?
if this
I don't know why he
child
does the
died,
things that he
would it
does.
be, if that child died, would that have been God's plan too?
Possibly.
There you go. No matter what happened, that
Still
person could
doesn't
have
so
drowned.
you still
That
don't
person could have walked again.
you still
It
haven't
doesn't
debunked the
matter.
miracle though.
You would
You still
still
haven't
say
debunked
it's
that.
God's plan. God
Yeah.
was helping
Yes.
us.
Tell
And
me
if
how it
everything
wasn't.
is
Tell me how
part
you
of
know it
God's
wasn't God.
plan, shh. If everything's part of God's plan, nothing is, because you can't tell the difference, right? You can't tell that anything is permissible,
What?
anything is possible under God.
Yes,
And so
exactly.
that's the problem. You
How's
can't
that a problem?
tell if it's God or just nature.
No,
You can't tell the difference. There's
because I
no
can,
symmetry breaker between these two
because I could just
hypotheses.
say that.
Not only do you not have a way of knowing this was actually God meddling in, you don't know if anything is God because you say it's all God. And if it's
Right.
all God, none of it's God.
So I could say the same thing and say that you don't know it wasn't God. How do you tell me that wasn't God meddling in?
You're right. It could have been unicorns. It could have been magic pixies.
Okay, how do you know it
Venus.
wasn't? How do you know it wasn't God?
We don't know if it
So
is
then
or
if
is
you
not
don't know,
necessarily.
how
The
can you tell
point
me
is
that
that
God
we
is
have-
imaginary?
the
You're
point is
making
that-
you're stating an objective fact here that God's imaginary, and you just said that you don't know either. So then how
God
can you tell me
isn't-
that God's imaginary?
Well, see, when you say God's imaginary, I'm making a claim that logically speaking, there are certain versions of God that can't be possible. For example, one that gives us free will and is itself omniscient. That seems paradoxical, right? There's also the problem of evil. There's also divine hiddenness. These are logical problems with certain versions of God.
There's logical
Not
problems.
everything's falsifiable or logically falsifiable.
There you go. That's the problem in your argument. Then your argument fails too, because you don't know either. You can't.
We
You
do
can't with
know.
100%
But then
certainty
again-
say that there's no God.
We absolutely can say there's no God if you think God is all good, yet allows kids to drown and be impaired. How can that be a good thing for God to do?
We don't understand it. I don't know, but just because you don't understand something doesn't mean
Well,
you can make the claim that's imaginary.
It seems antithetical for a good, all good being to allow so much unnecessary suffering.
Right.
In this world.
It seems that way because you're a human being,
But what
and you're speaking about
explains the
an
immense-
omnipotent God that created the universe. Of course, it's going to seem unreasonable to you. Of course, it's going to seem unempathetic. But that doesn't mean, again, you can't claim that there is no God because you
But
yourself
we-
don't know.
But it's way more likely that there isn't a God when
Sure,
in the
maybe there's-
face-
maybe-
Hold on,
way more-
hold on. It's way more likely that there isn't a God in the face
Uh-huh.
of all the unnecessary and gratuitous evil in the world. That's
I
my
agree.
point.
I agree with you, but just because something is more
You
likely,
agree?
there's still an yes. Can I finish my point? Yes, I
It's
agree
more
with you.
likely God isn't real.
Unfortunately, I agree with you. But until you can say it is, until you can say that it is the case that there is no God with certainty, you can't say that it's more likely there's no God, because it could be 99% chance there is no God, but that 1% chance, you can't debunk that. So then I can tell you, well, that 1% chance there's a God, and you cannot say with certainty there's no God.
We see
Just 'cause
there's
something- it
there's
might be
certain
more
things like,
likely-
do you think square circles have a percent chance of existing?
Yeah.
They don't. By definition, they can't exist, right? The same applies to God, right? Logically speaking, it's impossible for God to exist.
Wait, that was a bad analogy.
Given certain paradoxes,
That's like
given
saying
certain
there's a chance that 1
contradictions.
+ 1 = 3.
Oh my god! You're not listening to me.
Okay.
Given certain ideas like a square circle, by definition, it can't exist, and that's why we can say with absolute certainty some things can't exist. Now, I'm not even making the case here that God is impossible to exist. I'm just saying that it's likely not real, given the fact that there's lots of evil, given the fact that there's a divine hiddenness it exhibits, given the fact that there are paradoxes with free will, omniscience, and there's all kinds of issues with God. And so that's my argument.
Okay. I can say with 100% certainty that 1 + 1 doesn't equal 3. Sure. I can say that with 100% certainty a square can't be circle. But just like you, I cannot say with 100% certainty God doesn't exist. So I don't understand how you can claim that he's imaginary.
That's irrelevant if you
No, it's
can't or
not.
cannot say with
Why not?
100%
Why?
certainty.
You said there's some
Because
inconsistencies
we're
with some
just
gods.
after what's true. We're trying to find the answer, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's more likely, right? How do we know what's more likely that God exists?
Dude, how do you not understand what I'm saying?
You're not giving me any good reason to think God is more likely than naturalism.
I don't think it's more likely. I'm just saying that the fact there is a possibility means there could be God out there. So I don't know how you can claim that he's imaginary.
Oh my God! Do you think God?
Which is your debate topic.
Do you think God is more likely to exist or less likely than naturalism?
Less likely. But I'm not the one making the claim that he's imaginary.
I can't do this.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. I don't want to debate the first one because, to be honest, it's just people's beliefs. But I do question something. It's not really something as an insult, but as a problem. How can someone really believe as an atom to form a whole world? Like, how can a world be created? Because you gotta be questioned what's behind of the creation, right? Like, you cannot an atom form a whole world, or a fish enters the sea and suddenly a civilization is created.
Well, you're asking a malformed question. How can
And
the
the
creation?
second,
How can
sorry
the
to interrupt.
creation?
Sorry to
How can
interrupt.
this
I
all
said
come?
sorry to interrupt.
Oh my God! Can I just speak? Okay. How can all this come from an atom? Nobody said it did. Okay. Secondly, you're asking, well, how did this all? What's the explanation for this creation? Well, that smuggles in the idea that this even is creation. I don't think it's creation, and so your question is malformed. Now, if you're asking me, how did this all happen? We have science to thoroughly describe how this happened. We have the Big Bang model, we have cosmic evolution, we have biological evolution, chemical evolution. All this explains the reality we see around us. We never need God to explain it. So, what is the reasoning for why God exists to you?
Yeah, because like you think the universe, the Earth itself, the Big Bang Theory, wasn't it all behind one creation, a mysterious God that everyone believes in? I'm like I'm not trying to debate. I'm just questioning. Like, do you really question like, is there a creator behind something at least? The
No, I don't
world.
think there is a creator because if you ask, oh, who created this? That just begs the question: who created the creator, and who created that creator? Is there a super duper god out there? Like
Yeah, that's what I
going on
meant. There
forever.
is.
We can just stop at the universe. We can say, hey, all there is just the universe, just nature. We never have to resort to God did it or who created this. And so, yeah, the universe is mysterious, but that doesn't mean God or somebody made it.
Fair enough. Well, anyways, about the vegan
Okay.
thing, is it like you're protecting the animals, or is it because you're feeling you want to be healthy?
And I love questions, but not right now, right? We're trying to get debates today. Hey, how are you? Ohio? Yeah, yeah, exactly, Liv. Appreciate
Hi,
that.
Mike. Is it okay if I present an argument in defense of your ideas just to keep the debate going, kind of? Or do you just want opposition?
Is this something I've never heard before?
I don't know. It just has to do with like the flaws of the free will argument and like as support for like the Epicurean paradox. So you probably have, but I don't know if your viewers have all heard it.
Okay, if you make it quick, sure.
Okay, sure. So, I guess my thing with classic theism is that if there was an all-powerful and all-loving God, that he would be able to create ideal conditions that minimize suffering. If you think about how newborn babies, supposedly go to heaven without having their free will tested, it doesn't make sense that that can't be replicated on Earth.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
If the whole point, yeah, I mean, if the whole point of Earth is to have free will and moral agents who choose between good and evil, well, how can babies
Exactly, and that
take
kind of
place there?
proves that
And if they die before they get that agency, well, then what? How
then
do you explain that? How does that fit in here? Yeah, that's
exactly, it's not
interesting thought.
necessary. Okay, well, I'll let you keep going, but keep up the good fight.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't say that's the strongest argument ever, but yeah, it's definitely an interesting point.
Okay. Hi again. I don't know if you remember me. Um, so again, I watched your debate with Raz. I'm pretty familiar with your whole argument against the idea that trans women are women, and I think one of the most like the definition that we give to include trans women, it is a subjective definition, at least for women that. Oh my gosh, at least if we stick with the subjective definition that we always have, we know we have a clear idea for the idea of women. So I know I worded it wrong, but something like that. Because the definition, okay, what
But
would
why
you
are
describe a woman as?
why are trans women not women?
Because they, shit, wait. Because the way we define a woman is not by a set of stereotypes or set of ideas that come with a woman. Trans women feed.
We don't use
Oftentimes, they
stereotypes to define women.
replicate a woman. That is not how being a woman works.
We don't use stereotypes to define women.
Okay, but then how do we define
We
a
use
trans woman as a
We
woman?
use archetype. An archetype.
Okay. Okay, so what would you describe a woman as?
Gender identity.
So a female and a woman are not in the same category as you, right?
They're not in the same categories. Woman is a gender, female is a sex.
But a lot of how we around the world, how we define women and how we treat women is because of the like. I know you have this idea about how we can't get with this objective argument because it just limits women to their genitals, but that's literally the only really piece of definition that we have that applies to every woman or like adult human female.
The problem with doing that is that when you define people just by their genitalia, the problem is not everybody has that genitalia.
I do know there are certain cases where...
Wire syndrome. Hold on. How about people with intersex conditions in which their genitalia is ambiguous, or their chromosomes are configured? Hold on. Or their chromosomes are mixed. They have XX and XY, or X0, or XXY, XYY. You're not accounting for those variations, but more importantly, there's clearly more to womanhood than just genitalia. There's more to me as a man than just my penis. Hold on. Let me get my full statement out here.
Okay, sorry.
There's more to me as a man than just my penis or my chromosomes or my sex. And so that's why there's a whole branch of psychology dedicated to studying gender. We study gender professionally around the world, and we've done it for centuries. And the whole point is that, yeah, gender is something distinct from just your sex. And when we refer to woman or man, what are we really referring to when we say someone's a man? Do I know your genitals? No, I haven't seen what's in your pants, but I can in some way gather that you're probably a woman. So what are we really talking about here? The way you express yourself, the way you behave, the way you want to be affirmed, the way you act in society. All these things we can observe and go, oh, wait a minute, maybe that's what womanhood encompasses. Those gendered aspects to your personhood, not your sex. My sex is irrelevant. You can remove my penis, I'm still a man. You can take my whole reproductive system out of me and replace it with a female one. I'm still a man. I still have the same identity. I still have the same gendered way of thinking as a man. The same expressions, the same masculine behaviors. That doesn't change, even though my sex may change.
Right. So I'll start off with when someone has a plethora of different chromosomes. I'm pretty sure, I'm not educated on that, but when that happens, in the rare case that happens, it's usually the person goes by or becomes one of, they have more if you have more female genitalia or female traits in your body, that's you're a woman, you're female. Or if you have more male, you are biologically, you're more male. And the thing is with how you can define a woman as how they really express themselves and how it is in society, it's so subjective to the point that you can't even switch cities without it. The idea of womanhood or the idea of being a woman changes throughout the entire world. For example, people in ethnic countries, how you're born as a man or a woman, it defines how you grow up. in religious households, in ethnic households, in countries, it defines how you grow up. So psychologically, when you grow up as a male or a female, being born as a male or female, it definitely reflects on how people treat you, aka it reflects on how you grow up.
Yeah, I don't know what you're trying to argue here for. I agree that
Okay, my argument is that
people
if you
view
are
women
born a
differently.
female or a male, it's going to have a very like it's going to play a mind into a set into your personality, your traits, your how you want to express yourself. It's just like that.
It might play a role
And how
in
people
your,
treat
it
you.
might yes, sure, it might play a role in that, but it doesn't play a role in what your gender identity is. It doesn't change the fact that your gender identity is something distinct from your sex. So I don't see your point here.
What do you mean? I mean, like ethnic households, like Middle Eastern households, like people of color, or how they define the idea of woman extremely different than how we deem as a Western woman.
Sure, but
So
still, yet again,
when
those
someone grows up
cultures.
in America and be like, my gender identity is a woman and applies to women, that's not okay. But in different areas, their gender it doesn't apply to the same.
What we mean by woman is going to be culturally dependent. Absolutely, yes, and that's why gender identity is important to recognize.
But it's so
cross
subjective.
cultures.
You cannot replicate womanhood. Womanhood is not something to copy or to dress up.
I agree. It's not. I agree. You don't dress up to be a woman. Of course not. I never said that. That is your straw man.
You have said multiple times that when a person it's like has that whole like their entire life has the identity of a woman, they will experience feminine traits or feminine emotions, something like that. And there's no, besides what we have for being a woman, being an adult female, your genitalia, there is no other female. There's no female only emotions. There's no female only.
I agree. That's why we recognize gender as cluster concepts. Gender identity is a cluster concepts, where there's no one trait that is exclusive only to females that males can't have. Of course not. But that's why. But we still have archetypes we can build based on certain traits and features that are typical of females. Right? Typically, females wear dresses, wear makeup, but we're not saying that's what defines woman. We're saying in our culture, we typically use those traits to say this person's a woman. Right? We use those traits to say, yeah, this person belongs in the woman category, not the man category. All we're doing is observing features and characteristics that are typical of females and saying, that's what woman is, right? And if it's typical of males, we say that's a man. And if it's in between, we say it's non-binary. That is a far better way of recognizing gender than just saying, oh no, that's all baloney. It's all it has to do with is your pee-pee or your vagina. That's all that matters. There's clearly more to gender than your sex. And that's why you're actually arguing in my favor and recognizing gender theory in contemporary gender studies, not a outdated sex-based definition. There's far more utility in my understanding of gender than yours.
Okay, I want to bring up this argument. I think this is where we left off the last time. We were talking about defining like woman or a man by their genitalia, and I don't know how, but we brought up this argument of how, okay, the way in many societies, being like, people don't treat you as a man because of your genitalia, but in women, this is going to sound crazy, but the way women have experiences or have certain cases is because of their genitalia. In many countries, girls such as, like, I don't want to get banned, but so kids, little girls are getting, child marriage or raped. It's unfortunately because of the vagina, because of the genitalia and like being a female, that is how we get treated. So yeah, maybe defining womanhood or being a woman is not because of is not the ideal way, but it is how society treats us.
But I think what you mean to say is that females in particular have certain experiences
because of the genitalia.
Because of the genitalia, and I agree. I agree. But how about the females who don't get those experiences? Does that mean that they're not women?
No, I'm saying this is
okay. So then you can't use that as a necessary. So then you can't use that as a necessary qualifier. You're not understanding. Hold on. That means you can't use that as a necessary condition to define what womanhood is. Every person has different experiences. And so trying to define a whole category of people based on a single experience, I think is absurd.
Okay, but if we put, okay, let's hypothetically we put two women, two biological women in a group. They are obviously going to have more in common from throughout, like the day they were born, throughout right now, they're going to have more in common than if we ask a trans woman, what is your, like, what are your, like experiences that you think have
Not
happened
necessarily.
because of your, because of being a
Plenty of
woman.
trans women, unfortunately, do experience misogyny. Plenty of
God
trans women,
damn.
unfortunately, do experience sexual violence.
You do realize that the misogyny that they face is literally optional. Like,
No, it's not optional. You can't choose to be your gender.
women
It's something you
face
are.
more misogynistic troubles than trans women, and this is,
Trans women also experience misogyny. They
but not
experience
as much
very
as
similar
women.
things.
And women face more. Hold on.
That
Women
doesn't mean
face more.
anything. That doesn't
Women
mean
face more
anything
difficulties
because
because
you
of their
can't.
genitalia, because of how society deems them, and there's no way you can copy that or copy experiences, whether that's in America, whether that's in a different country. No matter how hard the struggle is, there are so many like most of the time. Anytime we ask a woman or a biological woman, are there any experiences that you have experienced because of how you were born, because of your genitalia? And it's because society has treated them like that. So it's,
I understand your point. I get it. I agree that females in particular do experience certain things. However, you can't define womanhood by just those experiences because not all women experience that same thing.
oh my god.
It's just that simple.
But you can't
Even if the
describe
majority,
womanhood.
hold on. Even if a majority of females experience that doesn't mean that is what defines necessarily what a woman is. And so that's why your argument just doesn't work.
Okay, how would a trans woman, or how would someone come to the conclusion that their gender identity aligns with being a woman? How would you say it?
How do we?
Like, what defines a
How do
woman
we
to be a
understand
woman?
our gender identities?
Yeah, like how do we understand, or like how do,
We immerse ourselves in society and we clash with other people. We
but
clash
the
with other
society is
societal.
subjective.
Just listen. Right, you're asking a very important question. How do I know I was a boy? Well, I immerse myself with the world around me. I talk to other people, other boys. I play with certain toys. I have certain desires. I have certain gendered identity
because of the
about who I
society you
am.
grew up in.
I wear certain clothes. Yes, I agree with you that many of these traits are cultural, and that's why what we mean by woman or man is also going to be cultural and culturally dependent.
Okay,
And so
that, hold on, that definition is like, it changes. Okay, if my definition of a woman is just adult female with XX chromosomes, that applies throughout the entire world. But if you
But that doesn't
literally go
matter
to a
if it
different,
applies to
but
all
if you go to a
females.
literally
It
different
doesn't apply to
like a
trans
different
women.
city,
There's a
like right down
problem.
the road, they deem.
There's a problem with, even though, yes, all females are females, congratulations, but that doesn't actually help you when you're trying to understand what a woman is. Because when we actually investigate that question, what a woman is, there's far more nuance there than just, oh, do they have vagina or not, or pee-pee? There's more than that there. There's a whole psychology behind our genders. There's a whole psychological aspect. There's a whole behavioral aspect to me as a man. There are gender norms I adhere to. There are gender expectations I have about myself in this world. I want to be called man and he and not she. That tells me something, that there's something deeper happening here than just my penis. Again,
And you guys deem something deeper as
hold on,
dress.
this is important. Remove my penis, still the man.
Because you grew up as a man.
Why is that the
Because
case?
the way society has treated you like a man. And if you would grow up in someplace different, you would act totally different. And
Exactly,
you say woman,
but that's the point.
hold on.
That's
You
my
say
point.
woman,
My point is that regardless if I have a penis or not, I'm still a man. You take my penis away, I'm still a man. You put a vagina there, I'm still a man. You put XY chromosomes in me, I'm still a man. None of my sex changes my manhood. That's the issue that your definition has. You're disregarding the psychology. You're disregarding the biology.
I agree that there's like psychological things when it comes to defining womanhood or defining man or some things like that. But the thing is, you guys diminish us for putting women up to their like genitals, but the definition you guys have is so just like messed up. Like someone dresses up as a woman and surprise they're a woman.
That's a caricature. You don't understand my position.
Okay, hold on.
No,
Okay,
that's not true. What you just stated is silly. Of course not. If you just dress up as a woman, therefore you are a woman. That's not at all what we're fucking saying. You don't even understand what we're talking about here. So what makes you a woman is not how you dress. What makes you a woman is your identity. Your identity is an umbrella term that encompasses all those other features and traits.
Okay.
And if your identity aligns with phenotypical traits, then you're a woman.
But
It's
what
not
if
about dressing. It's not about dressing up as a
Wait,
woman.
what if a biological woman doesn't align with the stereotypical idea of like a woman or a gender identity as a woman? Well, are you gonna say she's less as a woman than a
You're
trans
asking
woman?
me. You're asking me if a female doesn't align with manhood, with
No,
womanhood.
if a biological woman doesn't align with the feminine traits that you put on trans women, say, okay, look at this trans woman. She
If
has
their
these
identity
feminine
is
traits.
not a woman, they're not a woman. It's that simple.
But if you're oh my god. Okay, I don't know. Okay, you know what? Alright, nice debating with you because there's just going back and forth. I don't know what I expected last time when you said the oppression of trans women is the same as biological woman, but
I never said this. Nothing's the same. Everybody has different experiences. What I'm saying is that it's comparable in such a way that you can't dismiss the fact that
thinking you're a woman is
Stop, relax.
oh my god.
What I said is that trans women can have the same experiences as some females.
No, the fuck.
It's not the same in every case, but I'm saying it can be the same. It's comparable.
Okay. Alright. There's no debating. You just go back in these circles. Oh, we can't define women by their genitalia. Okay, whatever.
You have to click the cancel button to leave. Disconnect button. The one which says disconnect on it, the circle with the cross in it. You'll find it soon. She got it. Just took her a bit of time. So yeah, guys. This topic, I love how this topic evokes such anger in people. You know, like it's just really fascinating. It's obvious, it's trivial that if you removed my sex, if you removed my penis, I would still be a man. I'd still want to do manly things, still express like a man. I would still want to be called a man. That tells me there's something deeper happening than just my sex that makes my gender happen. And this is why we have gender studies. This is why we talk about gender in a nuanced fashion instead of just saying, oh, it's only about sex. And I think that a vast swath of the population are just not ready for this conversation. It's going to take a long time for people to gradually connect and understand with what's happening in this discussion. All right. I guess one more victim. I really wanted to relax after this, but we'll see.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey.
So like for your like trans woman argument, do you think that trans women should be able to participate in men's sports?
Yeah, I think it depends on the circumstance, right? If why do we not want women in men's? Why do we not want men in women's sports? Well, typically, right? Well, we don't want them in sports because they have a physical advantage. And
Correct.
if
Yes.
if that's your only concern, well then how about the trans women or trans men who have the same physiology as their respective cis men and women in the sports? Well, then there's no problem. If your concern is the physical advantage, when the physical advantage is gone, then absolutely trans people should be in their respective sports.
So like what? So like how many cases? Like in what cases is that? Like in most cases, I feel that men have a physical advantage over women, though.
Yeah, obviously. Typically, males have physical advantages over females. But how about the cases where the advantages are equalized? Well, then you have no
Well, then like
excuse
how do
anymore.
you? So I can only I have to like test and see what their physical ability is before they participate in the sport.
Well, we surely do tests to demonstrate how physical you are, how your physics are, how your physiology is.
So like if I go to play basketball, like what
Yeah, we
tests
clearly do
what
training
tests am
and
I getting?
tests. We clearly do drug tests and all kinds of things that tell us somebody's how equipped they are physically.
So I should do that for high school sports. Like I should.
No, I think in high school, I think there's no problem in high school sports, elementary, middle school sports. Trans people should absolutely be allowed, no matter how advantaged they are. It's kids, right? But if we're talking about Olympic level, right? Then that's a different story. Then yes, if their advantages are too extreme, then we should be limiting that.
Well, I feel
But
like
again,
at the
that you're
college
talking
level,
about you're talking about a very small percentage of cases where this has to happen. The vast majority of cases, I think it's perfectly fine.
Okay, so I'm talking about small percentages of cases, but you said that in a small percentage of cases, women have a higher physical advantage than men.
Clearly, yeah.
Okay, so like it's wrong for me to use a small case, like in small case scenarios, but like for you, it's okay.
What?
You told me that it was wrong that I said that for in small cases for or your argument was that in small cases that there are women that have physical advantages over males or over men, sorry. And then then I said, okay, like for the college level, how does that apply? Because most college males have a higher advantage. There's not one, I'll tell you right now, there's not one in basketball, there's not one, like they've literally done studies on it before. A high school boys men's basketball team has beat a girls national championship team. Like there's just higher advantages. You're using a very small percentage of people and saying, well, there is in some cases girls that have.
You're thinking too hard about this. Oh my gosh! Like, take a chill pill, relax, and recognize that 1% of people are transgender. 1% of people, and how many of those are in sports? Another 5%? We're talking about maybe a handful of people in the fucking country who we have to be concerned about this. We're talking about 5, maybe 6 people that this has happened with. And so, to me, this whole discussion about sports is fucking stupid. But I'm entertaining it because you care about it for some reason, and many Americans care about it, or sports-oriented. But anyway, look, if the physical advantages are too extreme, then we should be definitely taking a look at how to prevent that. I agree. But if the physical advantages are equalized, and it's not like some higher level sports, there's no issue to me. It's that simple. That's it. That's just my position. Now, do you have an actual argument to counter why trans women are not women, or what?
No. Well, I was just asking because you said that a small percentage of female or trans women try to play male sports, but there's also a small percentage of females that have stronger advantages over males. That's also a small percentage as well. There's a small percentage of females that have
There's a small percentage chance that you'll not be kicked. All right, is that the next victim? I'm sorry, guys. I couldn't. I just don't have patience for that right now. One last victim here. Mr. Truth. This guy's been waiting a long time. No, it's not here. Okay. Xavier. Yeah, people like Americans are like really concerned about sports, like football, and it's like really embedded in their culture. And so that's their main concern is sports. How is this going to affect sports? They're not concerned about the welfare of trans people. They're not concerned about equality or gender. They're concerned about sports, football, basketball. Really crazy, really fucking nuts. Sports and protein. You gotta get my protein. Protein bars, protein shakes, protein cups, protein meal, protein dinners, protein lunches, protein breakfast, protein cereal, everything's protein infused. Americans are fucking crazy. Protein water, protein shakes, protein this, protein that. Protein sleep. And meanwhile, we're all obese and fat and overweight and heart disease and riddled with cancers and heart. But we need more protein. That's gonna fix all this. More protein. As if there's some kind of protein deficiency in Americans. when we're all obese. I don't get it. We don't care about fiber though, right? Fuck fiber. Ugh, fiber. We don't need fiber. About colon cancer skyrocketing. Well, no, we don't need protein. We don't need fiber. We need protein. More protein. When there's shootings, Americans don't go, hey, maybe we should stop gun access. They say, more guns. Give the teachers the guns. Give the students the guns. More guns. Americans have everything reversed. Like, everything's reversed. All right, guys. Well, it looks like nobody else is coming up. I'll take a few questions before I go. And that's it. I think we had some good discussions. Oh, here we go. Why do you slaughter plants? Average American. Okay. Plants are not sentient, right? And so saying slaughtering plants doesn't make any sense. What, you're going to use a little, you're going to like what, break a broccoli stick apart? Like maybe break your celery stick? Oh, you're slaughtering. Celery is not sentient. They don't feel anything, right? And so there's no such thing as slaughtering plants. They're not experiencing any slaughter. There's no such thing. plants are alive. Oh my gosh, what's such a revelation? Did you guys know that? Plants are alive. Oh no, maybe we should be vegan so that less plants die. If you care, look, if you're suddenly a plant welfare specialist and you care so much about plants, go vegan. Because vegans actually destroy less land, we destroy less trees, we destroy less crops. We use less crops. So if you care about plants, go vegan. You're only every time you bring up plants, you're just arguing for veganism. You don't even know it. You're inadvertently arguing against yourself because of your ignorance. You don't understand how agriculture works, you know. I had a pound of grass-fed beef tonight, and my levels continue to be perfect. Your levels can be perfect, but how about in the long term? Okay, over time, your body can actually develop atherosclerosis, and your levels are fine. Right? It doesn't really show necessarily in your blood work. Not all diseases show up in your blood work. So no, you should be cautious. You can't just say, "Oh, my levels are good." It's great. I'm happy for you, but make sure that you're actually getting the right nutrition in your diet. Secondly, we're not talking about health necessarily only. We're also talking about morality. There's a moral issue with being non-vegan, right? And that's what we're trying to address here, right? It's not only about health. So, yeah, you just don't really understand. You just don't understand. I'm an omnivore. Technically, we're not omnivores, okay? You can make the argument that we're herbivores, but it doesn't matter. Either way, herbivores, omnivores, poopivores, shitivores, vaginivores, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We don't have to consume meat. Omnivores are not, like, required to consume meat. They're just not. We can eat both. We can eat either. Prioritize protein. Protein should be the last of your concerns, right? If you're getting enough calories, you're going to get enough protein. Protein is the last of your concerns. Fiber is your biggest concern. And beans are the best sources of fiber and protein. Legumes, nuts, seeds, vegetables, broccoli, spinach. Those are like some of the best foods you can put in your body, right? Fruits, vegetables. I eat lots of fruits every day. Vitamin C is important. So, yeah. But again, we're not talking about health. We're talking about morality. Any other questions before I go? Why should I be vegan? You have to ask yourself that question. Why? Why do you think it's okay to harm animals? Ask yourself that question. The deeper you go, the more you'll find that you're being hypocritical. How can you cope with the fact there's nothing after death? First you have to accept it. There's a lot of acceptance. Okay, when you really think about these deeper questions, you have to be able to accept a lot of things about the world. accept we don't know all the answers, except that after you die, it may not go anywhere. But after that, after you accept it, what you do is you go, what's the solution to this? Maybe we can, instead of focusing on what happens after death, why not focus what happens before death? Why not focus on your life that you're living now and make that the best you can before you die? That's how I see it, right? I don't focus on whatever happens after death. I focus on now. How do I make my life the best right now? And when you focus on that, well, then you'll have less angst and anxiety about that question, what happens after we die. That doesn't go through my brain at all. It just doesn't. I don't have an existential crisis about that because I'm focused on my life today, And so how I combat that feeling of anxiety about my afterlife is by doing the best I can as a person today to make my life better and others' lives better. That's the only thing I see that's fulfilling. Fulfilling enough to ease that angst about the future. Why did you become atheist? If there's nothing after death, I feel like I wasted so much of my life. Yeah, guys, this is precisely why a lot of people just believe in God and don't question it. Because if you question it, it evokes these very anxieties you're talking about. Well, if there's no afterlife, well, why does this life matter? Why are we here? What's the purpose? That's why we often avoid these questions going this deep, because we don't want to face that discomfort. And so, yeah, it can be scary when you do face that discomfort for the first time, and you confront it. You confront the darkness. You confront the unknown. You confront the uncertainty. You're like, oh my gosh. But where I am today, I have accepted a lot of that. It has humbled me. I've accepted a lot of it. And I've become comfortable with it. It's okay. In other words, from my point of view today, if I die and nothing happens, I'm okay. If I die and I go somewhere, great. If not, great. Whatever happens, happens. I don't have that angst in me. Why? Because I make sure that every day I live, I'm living the best I can. I go outside every day. I breathe. I take care of people around me. I take care of myself. I take care of the world. I try my best. I try as hard as I can. And that gives me the confidence and I breathe. Yeah, some people don't. Some people take that for granted. Guys, it's fucking amazing that we're alive. It's fucking amazing we're alive. We take that for granted, right? We take it for granted that we're alive and we're breathing. That's incredible. I just took in a breath. I can see, I can hear, I can taste, I can experience. This is remarkable. And every day I remember that. Every day I'm confronted with the finitude of life. Every day I'm confronted with its fragility. How fragile life can come and go. How easy it could come and go. I recognize that. I'm immersed in that. And that's why I value life so much. And so, to a Christian's perspective, they might say, well, if you're an atheist, none of this matters. But that's coming from their perspective. See, from my perspective, everything in this life matters so much more. Because there's no God, things matter so much more. Because it's so finite. Because it's so rare. Because the earth is a pale blue dot. That's all we got. And that's what makes it so amazing, Whereas if I did believe in God, I don't know if I would value life the same way. I think I would value life less, as I have when I did believe in God. We take it for granted. Every time we say, "Oh, well, God has a plan. God will take care of it." What you're doing is you're taking life for granted. You are diminishing the value of life every time you say, "Oh, God will take care of it. God has a plan." Every time you avoided those deeper questions, avoid the discomfort, you run away from that, you're missing out on really soaking in the beauty of life, soaking in the preciousness of life. But again, most people don't see it the way I do because they haven't gone through this path. They get scared when they start getting these questions. They get scared. It spooks them, right? This happens a lot. People get spooked. Oh, if there's no God, nothing matters. Oh my God, life is meaningless. We're insignificant. We're just a rock. There must be a God. God's got to exist. Yeah, it makes me feel good to believe in God. That's the common route people go through, It gives you comfort temporarily to believe that God is out there caring for you, loving you, holding your hand every step of the way. That makes you feel comfortable. That's how we evolved to be. And so that's why we almost never question religion. We never question our belief system because it's our identities. We've made it our identities. Right? And so that's why detaching from that is scary. When you're sold your whole life the idea that God is there watching you, you've attached yourself to it. Once you do detach yourself from it, it gets scary. It feels scary. It's like taking off a training wheel on your bicycle. Oh my God, I'm gonna fall. Oh no! What happens if I fall? Oh no! Well, the answer is you just keep riding. You just keep riding. Keep going. And yeah, maybe having the training wheels was comfortable, but it was limiting your freedom. You couldn't go as far as you could have without the training wheels. You couldn't go as fast. You couldn't do the things you could without the training wheels, with the training wheels on. That's how I see the world. Intellectually, I'm more free than I've ever been. And this comes not just with detaching yourself from religion, but also adopting a scientific mindset. This is why I promote science, because it's extremely important. It's an extremely important way of thinking about the world around you. Science is not just a set of facts, it's a way of thinking. And it's powerful. Very powerful. If God doesn't exist, where do we start? You can't start at negative infinity. See, asking where do we start is a bad question. Because who said there has to be a start? See, we are very familiar with starts and endings in our daily lives, right? Time. When does the sun set and when does it rise? Well, that's a start and an end, right? When is lunch? 12 o'clock. Well, when does it end? 1 o'clock. Start and an end. We attach ourselves to this basic understanding of what time start and end means, and so what we do naively is extrapolate this to the universe and say, well, the universe must have a start, a set, and a rise and a set. But not necessarily. The universe doesn't follow that necessarily. We can't fathom what the universe is. We can't really do that. We can't really understand infinity in our minds like that. It's just mind bending. It's just not possible for us to, our brains are too small to understand this. But the point is that starts to the universe do not necessarily have to exist. The universe may literally just have no boundary. It just never starts or ends. It just always is and always was. Again, these are very overwhelming ideas to accept. It's overwhelming. That's why the average person isn't an atheist. It's just overwhelming to take on that the immensity of space and time is just a lot. And you know, spamming. Yeah, look, see, you can get stuck in these thoughts forever. See, you keep thinking deeply about this stuff and you'll go crazy. You can't do that. You can't get stuck in these thoughts. At some point you have to go snap back to reality. Okay? Let's just live our lives. Right? If you get stuck in these thoughts, our brains did not evolve to take on these hard questions. We just can't. And so what you do is you just live your life the best you can every day. That's what I have discovered after my journey. That's what I've found. Just live your life. Do the best you can. Love your family. Love your friends. Love everybody. That's it. That's the answer, in my view. Nothing else really matters. It's all just thoughts. Nothing else really matters. It's just thoughts. It's just thoughts in your brain. You can't get stuck there. So, yeah, I hope that helped you guys. And live life. Enjoy it. All right, folks, I'm going to go.